I'm gonna
I think you
become.
should 180 out of filmmaking into being a Cars enthusiast.
What's the difference between the two? Let's be
You're right.
honest. Yeah,
Scorsese has come out on record by saying, this Marvel movie is not a big fan of, but I will say I did really like Cars 2.
I think in the
My
same
favorite
conversation.
scene, my favorite scene was when Michael Caine, as car spy, jumped out of the boat and there was an explosion because I love cars.
I think one time I told you this is within the same conversation, probably 5 minutes of each other. I had said that I think Shutter Island is kind of a messy film, and I think over time I have grown to not like it as much. And I've started to really kind of dislike it to a certain degree. And I think 5 minutes later, I did say Cars 2 is unironically one of the best Pixar movies of all time. I think I said
Yeah,
those within the
and
same
I
conversation.
think that's where the respect kind of went down quite a
I
bit.
think it should go up because I'm just that committed to these shitty beliefs that I have.
That's
You know,
at least you're consistent. That is fair.
I
You
recognize that these are shitty opinions. So there is some
all right?
self-awareness to it. I'm
Okay.
self-aware, which means it's cool, right? That's what it means. If I'm self-aware, that
Yeah,
absolves me of
everything's
all
better when
problems.
everything's fixed. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I watched Inside. I know what self-aware means, you know?
See, I didn't even watch Inside. Uh, yeah,
Jeffrey
and I remember
Bezos.
you were very adamant about your Shutter Island takes, and I remember just being like, I haven't seen that movie in fucking like 10 years.
Yeah.
I have not seen that movie since I was in high school.
Yeah.
Cool, I guess. Good job.
I just
Like,
know
yeah.
I I need to watch more movies. I think that's what this all means.
You are on a pop culture podcast.
Yeah.
How many Star Wars movies have you seen, by the way?
Do you have watching? Does watching half of it count?
No.
Okay. Not a lot. Probably under 5.
I'm really
Maybe
excited
under
for the
4.
Obi-Wan. I'm really excited for the Obi-Wan talk. It's gonna be
Yeah.
really fun.
I have watched all the Disney Plus shit, I think, but I
That's
have not
worse. That's
watched.
not a good sign.
Okay,
You're not a Marvel show. You're just a Disney
this will
show.
get people to click off. The first thing I watched was The Last Jedi.
That's so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Because you didn't even watch Force Awakens before that?
I didn't watch. I was on a plane back from the UK, and it was the only thing on. And I was like, the only thing on that I was kind of interested in seeing. So I just turned it on, and I watched the Last Jedi. I can't talk. I watched the Last Jedi while enjoying some ginger ice cream. And I thought it was pretty good.
That's so like
And then I didn't touch Star Wars for like a year.
they literally made a movie for new viewers. It's called The Force
I
Awakens. They did
know,
a
and I
whole
didn't.
reboot.
I
And
only
you were
watched
like, no,
that.
I'm gonna watch the sequel to that restructures everything and
Yeah,
flips
I
things
only
on its
watched that
head.
like 2 years later. I watched The Last Jedi. Didn't watch anything for like a solid year.
That's
And then I think I
fascinating.
started watching The Mandalorian. I watched Revenge of the Sith. I watched
You can
I've
watch any
never
Clone Wars, I'm
fully
assuming.
watched A New Hope. I have watched
You
most of
haven't
it.
even finished. Oh my
Not
god.
fully.
I'm not
Okay.
even one of those like guys that's like, oh, you haven't seen but you haven't seen the
I
Star Wars?
I watched all of Empire. I watched all of Empire.
You
I
watched
watched all of.
Empire? And you didn't watch the first one?
I know what happens. I know
What
what
happens?
happens.
What happens,
He's
Mithi?
on the Tatooine, and then he's like, "Ooh, I want to be a Jedi," but and then
He
Obi
doesn't
Wan's like,
say
"Ooh."
that. He doesn't even know what a Jedi is.
Well, then the
No, if anything,
Obi-Wan
Luke's
Kenobi
like, I
shows
want to
up.
be a space fascist because I'm so bored. That's what that
I
scene is.
don't remember
And I think
that.
it's
Okay,
hysterical.
I
Because he's
watched
like,
these
I want to
things.
join the Empire because it's fucking so boring here on Earth or
I
on
was over at a
Tatooine.
friend's house, okay, and
That's so
he turned it on, and it was like probably 10 or 15 minutes in, and I was just like, okay.
You were the only person who was like, I want to be a filmmaker. Anyway, I haven't seen Star Wars, but let me tell you about Cars 2. Cars 2 is the best movie I've ever seen.
I have technically watched
Citizen
Cars 2
Kane?
more
I've
times
never
than
heard
I
of
watched
that. What
Empire.
is that? What's Citizen Kane? Oh, it's black and white? No thanks. That's not a Marvel movie.
I should like go back and like actually watch A New Hope, like sitting down and just watch through the whole thing. But I did that with
I love it still. I
I
think it's a
know it's
fucking iconic
good.
film.
Yeah.
I actually don't think you would like it because it is it's such a product of its time and a product of its creation that like that's what makes it special. I think you will think it's a fine movie, and then you're
Yeah.
gonna come on this podcast and be like, I didn't really like it because you don't know like the history of it. You don't know like that movie almost didn't get made. That movie like was
I
almost
have seen some
atrociously
behind the scenes
terrible.
stuff on that, where like basically Marsha Lucas saved the movie,
Save
right?
that fucking movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
it
that
is
dialogue fucking
fascinating.
sucked, and
It
she
was
like
it was
changed
a
all of it.
terrible, terribly written movie, and
Yeah,
because George was just like, I want to make Flash Gordon. I want to make fucking
yeah,
Space Jesus
yeah.
because I'm bored. And by the way, can I get like $1 million for this? And then every studio was like, no, what are you talking about? And then Fox was like, yeah, sure, why not? Go out to the desert, make your movie, George.
Yep. And
It was
now,
it's a
did
thing where it's almost like Evil Dead, which you also haven't seen, of just like, holy fuck, I can't believe they even made this.
yeah.
And it managed to be so successful and stuff. I love that movie. Like original Star Wars is my favorite Star Wars, aside from the ending of Return, which you also have not seen.
I have
I'm
seen
assuming.
Return.
Oh,
I
you saw?
have seen
Okay, you
Return.
saw
I think
Jedi. All right, that's fine.
I think I
That's
saw
fine
it.
at least.
Yeah,
Did you see it all the
it's.
way through?
I think I saw more of the second half than the first half.
That's
I know, like
okay, but you
everything
watched
past
Empire,
I did
where
not
it
watch them
literally leaves
sequentially.
on a
It
cliffhanger.
it was not sequential. It was
I
I watched
see.
Empire and then I didn't watch anything for like a month,
This is
and then I
interesting to me. I just like
see.
again, it's
This
not
is
a
where I
problem.
come in
I'm not
as
trying to
a.
gatekeep here, but I am fascinated by
You
this
can't.
logic.
You
I
should
am
always take my
fascinated.
Star Wars opinions with a grain of salt.
Hmm.
Salt. With a grain
Well, I
of
mean, all
salt
Star Wars
because
opinions have salt now. Let's be real.
it's true. But like but maybe it's a good thing because I'm coming in with absolutely no care for anything
No,
in this
that's it. Yeah,
franchise,
no,
you
that's
know?
interesting.
And I've
But
always
I'm
had
also
no
gonna
care
be
for
like,
anything.
yeah, Glup Shido, right? And you're gonna be like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I want to talk about Quinlan Voss, and you're gonna be like, I don't know who the fuck that is.
I
Because
recognize the
granted,
name. I don't know who this is.
granted, he wasn't in the movies. He was in one episode of the Clone Wars. He was in Phantom Menace, but he was in the background. But he is my favorite Star Wars character.
Yeah.
Don't talk. I don't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about it. Don't ask any more questions. He is my favorite Star Wars character. I love him so much.
It's so fascinating to me that like this is what Star Wars is like, and especially the shows now, it's like
Yeah,
there's this little pocket of time where we know everything that happens before and we know everything that happens after it. We just have to do something in this time. Fuck it.
because
This is the.
we had a 20-year fucking gap in the
Yeah.
story. They decided, yeah, we're gonna end Return of the Jedi with not Return. We're gonna end Revenge of the Sith with the birth of the main character of the next trilogy. So
Yeah.
20 years will go by, and we're not gonna touch that. We don't give
Yeah.
a fuck about that. And now Disney's like, we care about that, and we're gonna milk it for all it's worth.
Because
And I think it's
from
and
an
the same
outside
thing,
perspective,
between 6 and 7, which is hysterical to me.
yeah, from an outside perspective, Star Wars is something that worked 3 times, and then everyone went, fuck, shit, this worked. We have to do everything now," and that's always how it's felt. I think, even as
Yeah,
an
I think
outsider.
it's worked more. I mean, in terms of the mainstream films, yeah, there's probably only three or four genuinely good Star Wars movies that like actually like do what they kind of set out to do and deserve like any amount of like like they're at worst they're pretty fun movies except for Rise of Skywalker, which is dog shit. But
Yeah,
like I think only like 3 or 4 deserve to kind of be talked about, you know.
yeah,
But it is that extended media that like pushes shit over the line, like the books. I hate to be this guy, but
mm,
the books are so good. The
yeah.
books are fantastic.
I thought
You
you said
know,
you didn't read.
I listen to them.
Okay.
With today's sponsor,
Manscaped. Yeah,
Manscaped. Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Um, but no, it is your Star Wars opinions are fascinating to me, and this will be a very interesting discussion about a series that is inherently reliant on the prequels
yeah,
because
and like I've seen a lot of Revenge of the Sith to the point where
wait,
I
you didn't even
understand.
finish Revenge of the Sith?
I know I didn't see it all the way through. I only saw like the third act basically of Revenge of the Sith. I don't know everything that happens. I just know most of
Oh my
everything that
god, that's
happens.
so funny. You are the kind of guy that is reading the Wikipedia page of a comic book or watching the comic story
Yeah,
and
but
being
I
like,
mean
yeah,
they
I
did
read
the
Secret Wars. It's like
they
Civil War, but the multiverse, right?
I didn't say that though. I'm not making those assessments. Listen, I watched their
I know what happens. I heard what I get it. You know, I get
I
it.
watched their 3-minute dramatic
It
pre-telling
was
of the.
very funny. I get it. I understand why, but starting that first episode and they're like previously on Star Wars, and then it shows like the three most iconic films of my childhood
Yeah,
as if it's like a TV show.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is kind of this makes me laugh.
It
But
was.
I get it for people. I guess for people like you, it's helpful. People like
It
you. I'm
was
sorry, I didn't
genuinely
mean it like that.
helpful to a
For
certain
you people,
for me, for my people. Yeah.
like you didn't even see this guy with the braid. You don't even know what
Like,
that is, do you?
I've seen.
What?
I'm still a member of pop culture in the sense that I know these things happened. Like, I've watched the Mr. Sunday movies videos on like all these movies, and I know the things that happen in them. So it's not like I'm coming completely out of context. I'm not like
No,
my
I understand.
mom
I
who's like,
understand.
who
Like
the fuck is this character?
most people know. Yeah, you know the general
I know
stuff. I
that.
get
Yeah,
that.
I don't
But
know
like,
any glub shit ups.
do you?
I know
But like,
no
do
glub
you
shit ups.
understand where I slammed my water bottle down. Do you understand where the two core characters of this show, Obi-Wan and Anakin? Do you
Yeah,
understand where they were at this point?
yeah, cause they're like he almost thought he killed him, but then he didn't, and so like I got that. Like, I got, that's
Yeah, I think he threw him in the lava, right?
yeah,
I saw that. I get
yeah.
that.
He was like, "I hate you," and then I watched
He did
the
say
Lego
that. You
game
saw
where
the
he like,
memes. I saw the high grounds.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
God they didn't make a high ground joke in this show. That would have been the most
I
annoying
mean, they
thing in the
kind of
world.
did.
Did they? I
They
must have
didn't
missed it.
say it, but like there were so many moments where it's like I guess spoilers. Kind like
Oh yeah. By the
yeah.
way, hey everybody, welcome to Fanboy Talk. I'm Troy. This is
Because in the
Mithi.
first 10 minutes,
We're
talking about
talking
Star
about
Wars.
Obi-Wan, and I'm bullying Mithi for not having seen like what I consider to be some of the most iconic films in
I will
history.
say
You've
that
seen Jurassic Park, right?
I have seen Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Yes,
Have you seen Raiders?
yes.
Okay,
I have not
you're
seen
good.
Indiana Jones 2, but I've
That's
seen.
fine. I don't
Yeah,
like Temple of Doom because it's racist, but I do like Short Round. But the rest of the
I
movie's
want to
weird.
watch it because it is racist. I want to see how far they get. Because I'm Indian. For people who can't
He
listen,
said it. He said it
I'm Indian. I'm
himself.
Indian. I am an Indian person. எனக்கு தமிழ் தெரியும். I am an Indian guy.
I just because I guess it is yeah because I forgot what
I
like
wanted to see
culture
how
there.
far they get that one.
I just remember that movie just being racist in general. I forgot it was specifically in Indian
I thought it was
cultures.
specifically Indian. Maybe it's not.
I think well it's like
the Lego
they're
games
like
seem very specifically Indian racist. That's all I'll say.
wait you've played Lego Star Wars though right?
I have I have not.
Oh fuck! Because that would have been the funniest way to get into this. You've never seen the movies, but I did play Lego Star Wars, the old one, with no dialogue, where they all grunt. I'm caught up to speed.
I did play Indiana Jones the first level of Raiders before I watched Raiders, which is
that was just the first level was just the
not the first level. Sorry, the first like section of it.
Oh, just Raiders.
It's like
the story of Raiders.
Yeah,
that
and
I need to revisit that game. Because I wanted to replay it with Olivia because we were going through all the old Lego games.
Yeah.
And then I was like, we were about to start, and I was like, wait, there are going to be Lego Nazis in this. That's going to be weird. Yeah. And she was like, yeah, maybe let's not. I was like, yeah, okay. We'll play Batman instead.
Batman is still of that generation. I haven't played Lego Star Wars.
That's a good game.
That was a pioneer. But yeah, I will say
actually, what do you think about it? Lego Batman had some stupid shit in it. I think all the changing costumes was dumb.
I like the changing costumes. It felt very
okay. I would like it if they didn't look terrible. They look like the ugliest fucking things in the world. The
Robin ones were terrible. The Batman
Robin ones were bad. The Batman, the only Batman one that was cool was the one where he was blue, and the one with the wings.
That one was cool. The one with the wings is like the best suit in the game. Because you can glide, but then the other Lego games just let Batman
just
glide
made that his whole thing.
Yeah, which I don't like that.
That's what it should.
It needs to feel
earned. I think that's what it should be.
It needs to feel earned.
What are you, the Flash writers? What are you, a CW DC show writer? Oh, he has to earn the ability to glide here. Like we don't want him to get that too soon. You know, it's a big deal for the fans, and we
need to get it in Lego Batman 8. You know, only then you'll get his black boots.
The idea of Batman wearing gray boots is really funny.
He's just wearing fucking
I guess that's
like
what Superman
thermals.
wore.
Is it just like his feet? You can see through the fucking
Superman
thermals.
in Rebirth, before he got the new better suit, he wore like his boots were blue. It was really dumb.
Damn, that's
And,
weird.
and then they did the whole merging of the two of them to give him the red boots back.
That's why. That's why.
It was literally weird.
Yeah.
But
Superman's
anyway.
always never had red gloves, right? Has he ever had red gloves?
No, some suits will have him in gloves, but most of the time they're out because gloves kind of imply like a sort of like, oh, I can't get my fingerprints on things, and I gotta be discreet in disguise. Where the whole point of Superman is he's not disguised.
Yeah.
But sometimes like his cuffs, he'll have these like handcuffs, oops, like his his cuffs will go to his fingers basically.
Yeah.
And I don't like them. Oh, like this. Like this guy. Oh, like this guy.
Wow.
Like
yeah.
that.
Wow,
And I don't like that. This suit is
why
very
you have
cool,
that action
except
figure.
for those weird things. I got this action figure because like 6 years ago at Comic-Con, they were selling all the Justice League for like $50. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So I got the whole new 52 Justice League. And I'm like, cool, I'm set.
Justice League War is good. I read that.
Justice League War's fine. It's got really ugly designs, but like everything else is good. Anyway, we're talking about Star Wars.
That's right. The only Star Wars movie I've watched in a theater was The Rise of Skywalker. It was the worst theater watching experience. That's hysterical. Of my entire life.
I'm sorry.
On top of everything, really I had a fever, but then above that, the movie was terrible, and that was honestly what made it worse. I think my fever got worse.
Wow, you went to the movie theaters while you were sick in 2019? In late 2019, December of 2019. Wow, Mithi.
Wow, I didn't know I was sick until I came out of the theater.
Wow, Mithi.
I was in India. I was eating samosas.
The irresponsibility on display here. All just and he admits it just for a story. He admits it for clout.
What clout am I going to get about this, Troy?
I don't know. You're on I've podcast. Admitted this that I am on the main channel. I'm going to put some of this shit on the main channel. I don't care. I need something.
I'm going to be on the main channel with my Cars 2 background.
And I don't know why. I'm losing credibility here
with my Cars 2 background. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, that's why I was mad about it.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Obi-Wan. First off, I want to start with this.
Do you want to do spoiler free talk really quick?
Let's do a little bit of spoiler free. But first, I want to preface with this. One of the first real Star Wars things I watched was The Mandalorian, right? Like real sit down and just watched it. Because I was like, you know what? This looks cool. Different. I like Jon Favreau. I don't really give a fuck about Luke Skywalker. I watched Mandalorian.
It hurts my feelings, but I get it.
At that time, I did not give a fuck about him. Currently, it's not like I give that
still shouldn't give a fuck. Especially now, you shouldn't give a fuck about him. Yeah. But at the time, I was like, that's my guy.
Yeah. But then I watched Mandalorian season 1, and I'm like, fuck, okay, this is a good show. Star Wars has some cool shit in it. And then I watched the sequels, and I was like, okay, some of this is good, and some of it maybe not so much, but that's okay. And then I watched Rise of Skywalker, and then I wanted to piss myself. And then I was like, okay, all right, Star Wars is a big mixed bag of shit.
Hang on, I'm sorry, right? I don't want to interrupt you because I know I have the reputation.
No.
You wanted to what?
You know what? The way I think, I should have said just I wanted to throw up.
I wanted to pee my pants after that experience.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm not going to retract my statement.
When I watch a bad movie, I immediately think, you know what I want to do? I want to ruin this pair of pants. I want to have a bad rest of my day. Okay, I just wanted to clarify. I just wanted to roll that back. I didn't want to let you're not going to get away with that.
I
continue though. Continue. You want to piss your pants and
yeah. And then so as I've been watching all this shit, my opinion of Star Wars since the beginning was like, I don't really care. Some of this is probably cool. That has not changed. I heard that Obi-Wan was coming out. I really like Ewan McGregor, and of the stuff that I've seen from the prequels, he's a lot of fun. I watched this show. I finished this show. My opinion has still not changed. I still think Star Wars is a fun thing with a couple of fun moments and some weird shit in between it. And I don't know what the goal of this show was. and at the end I still kind of don't really know what the goal of the show was. um I'm sure it's fun, and I'm sure for really big prequel fans it's really fun, but then I'm also like, this is kind of like, they took what is probably a good 1.5 hour movie and then just like stress the fuck out of it. And so I was just like, okay, all right, I don't have any more emotions for any, like, I don't think I don't like Obi-Wan less, but I kind of like Obi-Wan less just because I was bored during the show, you know?
Yeah.
So overall, it's good. Just it takes its time. It takes its fucking sweet fucking time. And that's my non-spoiler thoughts.
Yeah, I feel that. For context, because I want to make something clear, I am not a Star Wars fan in the Disney adult kind of way. In the I love big corporations and whatever they do, I will be a fan. I'm not gonna go to. I went to Galaxy's Edge and I liked it, but I didn't like going into the First Order fascist store there. I want to make that incredibly clear because there's some people that are like that. It makes me uncomfortable.
They love
I grew up
to
with
hang
Star
out.
Wars, and I have always loved it for reasons that I think a lot like I like a lot of core reasons that I fucking love, especially like the filmmaking aspects of the originals. I think are like incredibly important. And I like the sequel trilogy, except for Rise. I like the prequel trilogy, except for Attack of the Clones. Uh, I love the Clone Wars, and I love Rebels. Some actually no, I like Rebels. I don't like a lot of Rebels, but I like a lot of Rebels. I don't
Did you
know.
watch Bad Batch?
I didn't because it looked like a little bit more of the same, and it didn't really
Yeah,
interest me.
I didn't. I
Um,
heard good things, but I didn't.
I've heard good things. Filoni does a good, and Filoni has always been great with the animated stuff, you know. So it's like he's it. I say all this just as prefaces. I'm in the same boat as you now, which kind of sucks. I as a like a big as a guy that fucking loves. I have actually. I'll be right back.
I was gonna
I
say, I got
have
Anakin Skywalker right behind me. He's about to cut off my fucking head.
this fucking guy. Oh god, he can't even see him. Oh god. Oh Jesus
I like
Christ.
that you're like, I'm not one
I
of
got
those Star
this
Wars
fucker.
guy who collects all
And
this
then
shit.
my headphones are in and I can't even hear you.
Okay,
So there's
sorry.
one big thing. And then we got a lot of shit. I'm not good at taking it down. I got like a bunch of helmets and crazy props and shit because I do quite like Star Wars. And I got a $300 lightsaber that I'm a little embarrassed by, but I still like it. Fuck you. And it's the show. The show is good overall. You know, I do love Obi-Wan and I do like Anakin post Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Um, but and initially when they told me, oh, we're gonna make an Obi-Wan Kenobi show, I was like, cool, call it Kenobi and make it a samurai show. It's gonna be sick. That
Yeah.
sounds awesome. And then they're like, nah, yeah, maybe, but we're gonna call it Obi-Wan Kenobi to get the full name in there, which
So that
sounds stupid.
it can slowly
But it feels
transition
like
in.
a yeah. It sounds stupid, but it feels a little bit like a I don't know. That bugs me. I know it's a nitpick,
Mm.
whatever. And then like we're gonna make it a sprawling space adventure with Darth Vader as a big deal. And I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. Um, and I initially quite enjoyed it. I okay. I think overall I enjoyed the show. I'm not doing it. You did a much better job of explaining your opinions. How am I the YouTuber?
I give a good story. It's story
Yeah,
time.
you
You
did.
know,
That's you.
I'm a
That's
story
your
time
thing.
YouTuber.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read Reddit posts aloud and give your children nightmares.
um, like overall, I like the show. I think I have positive feelings about the show, but there's a lot of things that I'm like, wow, how the fuck did they get away with this? In terms of like, this is not great.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of stupid stuff and a lot of stuff that just kind of overall makes it feel like off in a way. When in theory, an Obi-Wan Kenobi show should have just slapped. You had everything set up, right?
Yeah.
And the stuff that works here, everything for the most part, everything works really well. And certain emotional bits for the stuff that they've set up in the previous movies, when they pay it off here, they do a good job with it. There's one thing that they've never set up, and they did an actually pretty interesting job with that, which we'll talk about. But it really is just execution. The direction of the show. The script is mostly pretty great. I actually quite like what they do. It's a little. You're right. This is a 2-hour movie that they decided. Yeah, let's make 6 hours or however long it actually. The actual
I
like
think a
it's probably
little
like
like
four and a
5 hours,
half or something
four
like
hours.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, which if this was like a Mandalorian style show of like every episode is a new thing, then cool, you know. Um, but it's the fact that they decided we're just going to make it a single narrative, and there's no way of breaking down a 5 hour narrative into 6 chunks and having it paced right. That's
Yeah.
physically impossible because you can't pace it like a movie and you can't pace it like a show. And I kind of figured that out with Moon Knight, where I was like, all right, binging this is much better. It's not great, but it's much better. And I watched the first 3 weekly, and then I watched the last 3 all in one night last night.
Mhm.
And I had a much better time with it all in one sitting, even though it was still paced terribly.
Yeah.
But it's just execution of like, there's really cool ideas here and really cool scripts, but the direction and the visuals are very, I don't want to say amateur, but like, because that sounds a little pretentious, but like it is lacking a lot in the ways that I kind of wish Star Wars wouldn't lack, you know. As Star Wars is like a filmmaking. Star Wars is so important to filmmaking, you know.
I wouldn't know. I'm a
And
Cars 2 fan, but yeah, keep going.
yeah, shut up. Like that aspect, and then like certain aspects of like just the way Disney's handling the IP of focusing so much on the glup shido, focusing so much on the nostalgia factor when they don't need to the point where that nostalgia factor, those elements are pulling it down a bit, you know. And I'll talk about those specifics in a bit. But
I will say another good comparison I've been making is I've been keeping up with The Boys, right? I know you haven't, but I have because
it's another show. I'm waiting till it's all.
Yeah,
I'm waiting.
which
Most
is
of
a
the
good
show is
idea.
running. I'm waiting till it's over.
Which I think is a good idea. You probably will enjoy it better. I will say these are like polar opposites. I want to say in terms of pacing. The Boys, I'll say as The Voice has been going, I haven't been in love with it, but the last 2 episodes have been fucking kino. I love the last 2 episodes for the record. But this show packs so much shit into every episode. Like the status quo kind of changes at the end of every single episode this season to the point where like shit, like it's super impactful, but in a way where I'm like, geez, some of this might need some time to breathe, especially the first, like, I want to say the middle few episodes of the season have been like really intense to the point where I'm like, this is a lot. You guys can breathe this out by a little bit. This show is the exact opposite. So kind of going from like super jam-packed show with crazy action and everything to Obi-Wan show, which takes its sweet fucking time to do like anything, has just been really weird. And I think I don't like Obi-Wan as much just because, like, even from the first few episodes, the first 2 episodes could have been 1 episode, you know? Like, they spend their sweet time with Benny Safdie's in the show, and he shows up, and he's like, he just dies.
Let's still keep it to spoiler free shit.
God damn it! I'm sorry, I didn't
Mithi.
mean he was
Mithi
announced.
Just decided, oh, people on Twitter are talking about it, so I can
Twitter.
I can just shit it out. I don't care about spoilers. Shaking my head, Mithi. We can go into spoilers. We can just go into spoilers.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry.
Mithi. Oh, Mithi. Mithi. Problematic Mithi's back at it again.
No, he's
no
not,
longer
he's
as problematic. Again, we've decided.
Yeah.
Certain events, certain things in the community have made it seem far less.
Which has allowed me to push the Cars 2 agenda a little bit further. You know,
now that I am agenda.
Yeah.
All right.
It is
so
the anniversary.
Again, if you haven't seen the show, it's fine. It's good. You might like it. You might think it's terrible. I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on it. Overall positive.
Watch it, but if you feel it's too slow, just
watch it. And then if you stop liking it, stop watching it.
I'm trying to think of an episode you could skip. Maybe episode 4.
Well, that's the thing, because there's only 6. It's like there's gonna be an important point, but it's only 1 point in an episode, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that if you haven't seen it, whatever the shit Mithi spoiled actually doesn't really matter that much. But it was just very funny, and I like making fun of him. But yeah, we're gonna talk spoilers probably. And then
the actors are great in this show. I'll give it that. The actors are
mostly great in this show. I think they're not directed the best all the time, but for the most part, they're pretty good. Yeah, they do their best.
Towards the end, they're better.
Which, what do you think about it? That is the energy of the prequels.
Yeah,
the prequels were not well directed whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know, George, love you, buddy, but you do not know how to direct an actor, and you could tell. And maybe that's what they're going for here.
Can you tell in the older movies too? Like, can you tell in Empire?
It was mostly in the older movies that George didn't have, nobody respected George.
So
And so fucking Harrison would be like, shut the fuck up. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. And he did it. And George was like, yeah, you're right. My bad. And Luke would be like, hey, how do I do this? Hey, and then George would be like, oh, you're space Jesus. And Harrison would be like, it's not that kind of movie, kid. And like, it's really funny the behind the scenes of that shit, because like the people that cared were like mocked. Yeah. And then the director was like, I don't fucking know, man. And I love that. Princess Leia has a British accent for half of the first movie. It's on and off with her.
Really?
It's hysterical. I love it. It's so good. But we'll probably talk spoilers, you know. That's what I'm saying. It's so funny. It's crazy. I love it.
That happened. But
like, not in like a making fun of it kind of way, but in like a, this is insane how this person made this movie.
Yeah.
And like everything went wrong.
George Lucas is like one of the luckiest men in Hollywood next to Ringo Starr, right? So for good reason, I guess. But yeah, spoilers for Obi-Wan in 3, 2, 1.
So Benny Safdie dies, apparently.
Benny Safdie dies. People.
Who was he again? I forgot. I don't
He's
remember.
the director of Uncut Gems.
No, I know.
Okay,
Benny Safdie is. I mean, who was he in the show?
Just some Jedi dude who was like, Obi-Wan, help me. And he's like,
no. Wait, he's not that young, is he? Oh, because I only know what he looks like from Good Time, where he's covered in prosthetics.
Yeah, no.
I thought he looked like that normally.
No, he doesn't. I don't think he does. No.
Oh, I feel bad now.
I like that Benny Safdie. He's gonna be in this. He's gonna be in Oppenheimer. He's getting signed on to like
and he's cool. I love him. Yeah, I just thought that's what he looks like.
It's so he's in the show, and then Maya Erskine's in the show, but they don't do anything with her. And I fucking love Maya Erskine, but they don't do shit with her. You know who Maya? Who is she
also?
She was she does a Pen 15 on Hulu. I haven't watched it. Again, but I know it's good.
Who was she in the show?
Oh. God,
the show that we watched.
Don't remember the show. It was so long, okay? I can't discern fucking episodes at this point.
Because she wasn't the
she was one of the
spy.
No, remember when the two jets the snow
okay, that was weird. I remember being like,
shut off and then it blew up and she's like, no! She was that lady. She was
okay.
Yeah, that's who
I just want to skip ahead to that, because while we're on it, I laughed at that because I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
And then we're like supposed to be sad he dies when he's the stupidest.
He's introduced and then 2 minutes later he dies.
I'm right behind you guys. Like it is very much like in the original.
Can we have a spin-off
in 77 when we meet all these rebel pilots and we're like, Red 5 on your back, and they've got names, and we're like, oh cool, we get this squadron of people and they all fucking die. It is so funny.
Can we get a spin-off show on his story but leading up to that moment? You know? And then
Disney's gonna do it. They'll do it.
Call it Fuck Andor. And then release it.
Okay. Before we get on to just a quick tangent, I think Andor is actually going to be really good.
It seems cool.
Because I didn't even see a trailer. I know they have a trailer. I didn't see it. Yeah. I don't fucking care. But Obi-Wan Kenobi makes sense to be a show. Like from the business perspective, they're like, yeah, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. We're going to make a show of that.
Big actor, big
a Darth Vader show, Ahsoka, a Luke show if they make up, that like makes sense for the suits. If it was an animated show, I'd be happy. If they do it live action, I'm gonna fucking explode.
Yeah, okay.
But like all those big name characters that are known and have a fan base, to the suits, I get like that makes sense. They'll just greenlight it for the name. Cassian Andor doesn't have that. The Mandalorian didn't have that. So those get greenlit based on pitch. Yeah. Those get greenlit based on talent. And to me, that excites me. Because how the fuck can you pitch a Cassian Andor show in a way that will get a green light?
Yeah.
So that must be good.
I don't remember. It's not Wonder Woman lady. What's her name? Patty Jenkins. It's not Patty Jenkins.
No, she was doing that the I don't remember what it's called actually.
About the
planes.
Doing the Jude Law show? That's John Watts.
So John Watts is doing the Jude Law show. I don't remember who's doing it. But it's just funny to me that they're like, yeah, that character, sure, we'll give you
Yeah.
like how do you green like that? So I actually, maybe I'm not going to say this publicly, because if I say publicly that I think it's going to be good, it's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
So
You're just gonna
never mind.
internalize some mysterious feeling you have in
Yeah,
anticipation for the show. It comes out soon, I think, too. So
yeah, but that's my take on the Andor show, is that I
yeah,
think it's going to be surprisingly good, because the fact that it's getting made in general means that
yeah.
like there must be something to it.
No, yeah, I think that makes
Yeah.
sense. But yeah,
Yeah.
uh, I'm trying to think of like earlier like stuff with Obi-Wan that isn't quite just Vader shit.
Yeah,
Um,
like you mentioned that the first two episodes could be one episode, and I
yeah,
think you're totally right. I think the best way to have structured the show, because the 6 episodes clearly didn't work, right?
no, yeah,
Like we have 2 episodes that's our act one, and then we have 5 episodes. No, wait, 3 episodes are our act two, and 1 episode is our finale, act
yeah.
three, and it doesn't pace itself right. Even though I actually quite enjoyed the finale, um,
I kind of think
they should
episode
have.
5 feels like more of a finale in some ways
That's yeah, I get
than
that. That's
episode
fair.
6. Yeah,
But I didn't care about what's going on in episode 5, because I didn't care
No,
about that plot, because I don't know
yeah,
these people and shit. Um, at least I liked what they. I don't know. We'll get to that. But like, I think the best way to have structured this is, instead of one 6 episode movie that's split into 6 parts, that's fucking 4 hours long, they need to start structuring these 6 episode shows as a trilogy of movies. So you do
mm,
and you release 2 episodes at once, ideally, but probably maybe not, or however you want to pace that.
yeah,
But it's like, okay, episode 1 and 2, that is our stuck on Tatooine, our samurai show, or a samurai movie. You know, the kind of the thing that we kind of expected from a Kenobi show,
yeah,
right? And then 3 and 4, that can be our going to save Leia, because that is a fun plot line, and I do enjoy that of this
yeah,
show, and that can be kind of where we leave the planet and we do a little bit more, but it's a second movie.
yeah.
And then 5 and 6, that's our Vader
Is the
stuff.
Vader show? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's
That
it's still the
then
showdown,
the
but
payoff for
it's a
Vader feels a
self-contained.
lot bigger because
Yeah,
you could end either the first movie or the second movie with the Anakin in the tank
yeah,
thing, and then still get that same effect because that's a good
yeah.
moment in the show
It
as
is.
it
Yeah,
stands. It's a good
and
moment. It just
I hated should have done more in this show. I'm gonna be honest.
yeah, yeah.
They did a lot of marketing with him, and that
It
dude was
but
in
like
like
do you
20
just have him in
seconds.
prosthetics the whole time, I guess? And like someone
As
kicks off his
stupid
helmet and then he's like
as stupid as he looks in here,
yeah.
not he looks, but as stupid as they thought this 40-year-old man could play a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Um, or how, I think he's 19. Actually, I don't remember how old he is in Attack of the Clones.
It's a
Um,
kid, yeah.
and I think it's post. I think this is post Attack of the Clones, so it's during Clone Wars. I don't remember. Um, but as funny as that is, we should have had more of those. Like as glupshido as it feels, I
I
actually did
wonder,
really enjoy that.
should
I
they
love
have
that
brought
flashback
like
because the
Filoni
pacing of it.
on to write like stuff for that?
Did they
Maybe
not?
I
I
thought
would have
they
assumed that
didn't.
they did.
Did they bring
Yeah.
Filoni on? I don't know if they did or not. I thought they didn't, but
I don't
maybe.
know. But I think because was this 5 the flashback, or was this 4?
This
This was
was
5.
5. Yeah, this was 5.
Like, I didn't even love 5, but I really did like. I think 4 is my least favorite episode.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
did really like the kind of pacing of like, okay, we got our flashback, and it's just this one fight, and we keep kind of flashing back and forth between a similar showdown, right?
yeah, yep.
And I think and like, Obi-Wan teaches Anakin this lesson at the same time as modern day Obi-Wan is forgetting the lesson in a way.
Yeah,
And I think that's really cool, and I think that's really fresh. And I think they could have done more stuff with that. So it's like, one flashback is Attack of the Clones era where he's a Padawan. One can be fucking one can be where he's, what do I say, like, one can be where like during Clone Wars where he's got the long hair and maybe Ahsoka's there. That'd be cool.
Mhm.
I kind of wanted to see that. I know it's glub shitto, but I would have really loved that because I love Clone Wars and I love that character of Ahsoka. And maybe one is like right before Revenge of the Sith, like I guess we kind of already had that, but like, seeing some of those moments in their relationship, and then spread it out through an episode. So Hayden is in the show a lot more, firstly,
yeah.
and then also we learn the lessons as Obi-Wan is teaching the lessons.
Mm.
If that makes sense.
I
Because the show is
they
kind of all about the big part of the show is Obi-Wan's got this trauma of Anakin, and he has to overcome it to push himself at a higher plane of a higher plane of existence, essentially.
And I think part of the problem is because they introduced Leia so early. You know, like
Yeah, that's
she's
part of
like
it
from the
too.
first episode, she's like the main character alongside Obi-Wan. I feel like they should have
Yeah, which
given,
I don't hate that idea.
but shouldn't
I
don't you
think
think they should have given Obi-Wan more time before they did that?
I
Because
think
as
if we
it's
break it as like a like fuck, let's pull fucking fanboy rewrites on this shit, right?
all right, yeah,
Like, let's assume we're breaking it down into a trilogy, right?
mm-hmm.
We could still introduce Leia in that first movie,
Yeah,
but maybe she doesn't really have anything. She's got her own personal arc that she had in episode one
mm-hmm.
about like learning to, like everybody wants her to be more ladylike, and she's like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
And that's interesting and stuff because this Leia kid was really good. She did a
yeah.
great job,
No,
and I
yeah, she
think
was.
and I initially because we probably talked a little bit about this before. When I saw that they were doing it, I was like, oh fuck.
Mm.
I was like rolling my eyes because I was like, God damn it, not again. Can we stop with this? I want to stop seeing these characters.
Yeah,
But like they kind of earned it, and they did a really good job with her, and that's really impressive.
yeah.
Um,
Episode 3 won me
Luke,
over with that.
Luke, not so much, but I'll get to that later. I am a
Yeah,
little bit mad about Luke, but
I don't.
we'll get to that.
You have to tell me about that. I don't
I'll
know.
tell you about it. But yeah, the latest you could still do that where
It's
she
just
kind of has her own personal arc. End of the first movie, she gets kidnapped, and
yeah.
then second movie is Fig getting her back and stuff.
Mm.
You know,
I always
and
thought, and this
that's kind
was
of what it was. But yeah,
I always thought, and maybe this was just because I was hearing Red Letter Media pitch it too, but
mm-hmm.
um, I remember when they announced this show before Rise of Skywalker, I was like, oh, they're gonna do a Kenobi show because he's gonna be Rey's dad, and this story is gonna be about how he loses faith in like the Force and like the Jedi, and then he like goes off and is just his own fucking dude, and then he comes back and like some stuff like that, which I guess maybe that was. I feel like at some point something to do with Obi-Wan being Rey's dad was a pitch. I
I
feel
can yeah probably.
it has to
Rise
have
of
been.
Skywalker was such a mess that like
Yeah.
it wouldn't
But
surprise
then
me.
it's like even if you're not going to do that of like having him have a kid, just like giving him more to do than just like, oh, he's sad for the entirety of the first episode and then he's going on and he's hunting Leia. I feel like they should have done more
He's
with
not hunting Leia. Oh, hang on.
that is
Oh
something.
boy, we
No,
got a
okay, I
Craven
don't.
situation here,
Yeah, no,
Mr.
no.
Animal Lover.
I saw that post so fucking much.
I got a take on that, but well,
Yeah,
that's another
but yeah,
thing.
I just feel like they should have done more with like they eventually got around to giving him like some good characterization, but I feel like the beginning it was just like okay, he's cutting meat, okay, he's doing the same shit, okay, he's talking with Owen. I feel like they could have done more with him. I don't know. Maybe it's just
Well, I
because
think this whole show is about. Sorry, continue. I don't want to interrupt. Sorry.
no, that's all I really have.
No. You were going still.
No, I was just saying maybe it's also because then they also introduced Moses Ingram's character in that first episode right away. And she has like and people have been saying this, everyone has been saying this where it's like they were that was probably supposed to be like an Inquisitor show that they just kind of put into this. And it feels in some to some degree that entire storyline feels misplaced, you know? To the
Yeah,
point where even in the fifth episode where she has her arc resolved, but then she still goes off, it just I don't. It feels like two different storylines that have nothing to fucking do with each other. Just
yeah,
trying to twist around each other to the point where I'm like, this. I don't understand what's going on with her, and like, I don't think she is doing a terrible, terrible job or anything. I just think like the races online are horrible, and
yeah.
that's all horrible. But I don't love her character that much because she doesn't really do much and she's kind of over the top for a lot of it. And maybe it's just because I would rather see more Obi-Wan there, but I don't know.
That's fair.
I don't know also stuff about her character like because I know the Inquisitors are a big deal, but I don't know
Yeah,
that
but
much about
I mean,
them.
this
But
one, she's a new one we've never seen before.
okay, yeah.
Um, okay, so two things then. I wouldn't. I'll talk about her first because I think I kind of have a more founded take on that. But like
Yeah.
this whole show, the theme, at least kind of figured it out at the end, is like it's about trauma. It kind of about overcoming trauma and letting it define you or letting yourself move on and become a better person.
Mm.
And I really like that, especially for Obi-Wan. I think it's great. I wouldn't, and I think that that's why it's necessary for him to be so sad at the beginning. And I kind of wish
Yeah.
we even got more of that
Mm.
I think we should have had a straight up Kurosawa film, fucking Yojimbo,
Yeah.
where Obi-Wan is dealing with Tusken Raiders, you know, and then a lightsaber he has no choice but to use no, I don't know. Like he does something on his own that gets the attention of this Reva character, and then 3 and 4 is where we do the
Yeah.
Reva stuff. 5 and 6 is where we do the Vader stuff because they got Vader's attention with the Inquisitor stuff.
With Reva. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Um I wouldn't say I did not like Reva at first
Mm.
because I see this character and she's doing a fine job. She's not she's not the best directed. She's a little over the top. Um but really at the core I was like, this is just Fallen Order. And it's a lot of the show is
Yeah.
just Fallen Order but worse.
Which is
Because
why I was
love
like, is
Fallen
Cal
Order.
ever going to show up in the show?
He's getting his own show, which that's awesome.
Isn't
but
this
even
like the
then,
same time period, or am I wrong?
that's speaking of episode 4,
Yeah.
it's like within 2 years. It's hilarious that you know how in episode 4 he goes underwater and breaks
Yeah.
into the Inquisitorius or whatever it's called.
Mm.
Fucking Cal does the exact same thing within like a year or two. It's hilarious. And then there's also a scene where the glass is breaking.
Because the glass shatters, and I've seen that boss fight and everything.
It's so funny. And I'm just like, wow, they really didn't step up security at all after this. That's great.
Yeah.
But I didn't like Reva at first because she was just a worse version of Triss. Wait, is that her name? Fuck, I forgot her name. As much as I love Fallen Order, I don't remember the characters' names. The Inquisitor from that game, she was just at the time for the first like 4 episodes, I was like, all right, this is just the same character. And it wasn't until we find we kind of all assumed that she was a youngling who
I thought that's what the show was just telling us.
That was the obvious thing. It was a pretty obvious twist. And the reveal for me was like, oh no, she doesn't like Darth Vader. That's really cool. Like the twist that like, oh, she's not working for Vader, she's choosing to hunt him for revenge. I was like, oh wait, that's really cool. That's fresh, and that's a good take on this concept of the Inquisitors and stuff that we've never seen, at least that I haven't seen, that I'm aware of. It might have been done before, but that was a reveal. But that wasn't done until episode 5.
Yeah.
We got 5 weeks of this character being nothing, essentially not feeling like anything more than something we've already seen before. And it wasn't until the very end where I'm like, oh wait, they're doing something interesting that does parallel the theme
all
of
it
trauma
kind of happens
and stuff.
at once too, right? Like Obi-Wan talks her through the door, and then like 10 minutes later she's fucking trying to attack Vader. It like that part of it feels rushed, which is funny in a show that feels so slow the rest of the time.
Because it's trying to do a lot, but it's also not doing enough.
Yeah.
And like I think breaking it into essentially 2-3 separate movies would have done that better. You could still have Reva in the third one, or in episodes 5 and 6. Ideally not the Luke stuff. I'll talk about the Luke stuff. I do, and I like that journey with her where she's like, I want to get revenge on Vader, I want to kill him, and then she's like, oh, he has a son, I'm gonna go kill his son. And I think and that's her revenge and stuff. I think you could have done all that without that action scene on Tatooine, without that action scene with Owen and Beru, because it's a cool scene, and Owen and Beru are cool, right? The fact that I saw a tweet that was like, they for sure, when they get killed in episode 4, that they took out like a whole battalion of people first. And I love that. I think that's really funny. And that's a fine retcon that I don't mind. The retcon I don't particularly like, and this is stupid, and I know it's a nitpick, and I tweeted about it, and people didn't really, some people like, I got some people mad at me. But it's the fact that she goes after Luke, and she gets to Luke, and Luke is kind of involved in this action scene. And like he sees Owen firing a gun, and there's a laser sword involved. Maybe he probably doesn't. I know people are saying he doesn't see the laser sword and shit. But there is still like kind of a life-threatening situation for him as a kid, right? This sounds stupid, but the entire point of the original Star Wars of Luke is that he is so fucking bored. He hates living on Tatooine because there's nothing happening. He lives on a farm in the desert where the most exciting thing is a couple Tusken Raiders are out there, but even then he doesn't really deal with them.
To that experience.
Yeah. And the whole binary sunset, which is the most beautiful thing in Star Wars, it's an accidentally beautiful thing, is Luke looking out over this desert and being like, I hate it here. I want a life that's greater. I want a life that's bigger than this. I will do anything I can to get the fuck out of here because I feel like I'm bigger than this. I feel like I need some sense of adventure and stuff like that, to the point where he's willing to join the fucking Empire initially because he just wants out of there, which I think is really funny. And now when you have this retcon of like, oh yeah, but also when I was 10, this lady with a laser sword tried to kill me and we had a Home Alone style invasion sequence and I had to run out into the desert and I got knocked unconscious and shit like that.
Tripped on some
It
rocks.
just,
Yeah.
it muddies that whole message. And I think Filoni knew this with Rebels because we've seen Luke as a kid. We've had a couple moments where we've seen his life and he's really bored. His life is boring. That's the point. And I think I understand why it exists for Reva's plot, but I think you could have done that without having Luke be aware of a life-threatening situation happening in general. Like I think Reva could have gotten to the door, broken into the house, and Luke is sleeping still. She ignites her lightsaber, and she kind of has that moment of like
Would
trying
it
to
have
figure
been
herself
too
out.
on the nose to have her lift the lightsaber over a sleeping Luke and then have a kind of like
No,
thing
because it was
and
already on the nose enough.
yeah,
I thought it was
okay.
blatantly on the
I
nose
thought they were going
initially.
to do that to like reference the sequels and have a little bit of like thematic cohesion, but they didn't do that. And then I was
I
like,
don't
ah,
even think maybe she doesn't even need to get into the room. I think she just needs to get to the door of his room and be like, "There's a child here. I could exact my revenge now." And
yeah.
she's like really wants to, and then she has that arc and journey, and you don't have to do that by like Luke couldn't like maybe she does fight Owen and Beru, and she knocks him out or something. She gets them out of the system, out of the way or whatever, because I do really like that moment where she's like, "He's not your what is he?" She's like, "What was the line?" It was like he's not even one of your own or something like that. And Owen is
Something
like,
like that.
"Yes, he is," or something. And I
Oh
loved that.
yeah,
I thought
he
that was
is
a
my
really
son or
great
something.
moment. There's a
Yeah.
lot of really great lines in the show,
Mhm.
like great screenwriting and stuff. And Vader has also really great lines, but
Yeah.
I'll talk about how that gets fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, like so you could still have that, but it really is just the fact that Luke thought he was gonna die, and that just kind of is like I don't know. And you could maybe argue that like, oh well, Luke is 19 and he's like kind of an edgy little asshole in that movie, but it makes his
He's like,
desire
no, I
for
wanted to
adventure
die
seem
then. That would have been more
it
entertaining.
just
Or
it
something. I
it
don't know.
makes his desire for adventure feel less poignant.
Yeah.
Like I don't know that it's such a stupid thing to be bothered by, but that's what these things do when you revisit characters before their big thing, before their journey.
It
It
feels, yeah.
recontextualizes these big moments in their journey of like, okay, well, sure, it doesn't ruin it. But now when I watch the Binary Sunset and I think of this and I think of what Luke
He
wants
did
so
this too.
bad,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like, oh well, there was that time when he had to deal with, because initially before this, the only thing that happened to Luke was 6 miles out, there was some fighting. He's here in his vest and his friend joined the military. And that's it. And then the Raiders are there and he has to be careful of them. And sometimes we have to fight them off, but it's not really like a situation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure there is canon that proves me wrong and stuff,
I
but I
mean, that's
think
why
that just
people keep getting bothered about people going back to Tatooine, right? Is because it's
yeah,
supposed to be a garbage
it's
planet.
nothing's
It's
supposed to
supposed,
happen there.
yeah.
Yeah.
And instead,
Um
Boba Fett has an empire there now, and the
yeah, which
Mandalorian keeps
even
going back
then
there
with
too.
with
And
with the Boba Fett stuff that fits because like you already had Jabba's
yeah,
crimes
stuff there.
he was the fucking kingpin of
Yeah.
space from there. Um but I don't know, it doesn't sit as right with me and stuff. And that's the biggest thing that bugged me about the finale, I think,
Especially since
and
that's
about the
meant to
Reva
be the
plot.
final moment too. It's not like Vader is
Yeah.
not even the final moment. That's the final climactic
Yeah.
moment. So yeah,
And it's like
I
I
can see why.
understand wanting to bring in this like, oh, that's the threat. We got to make sure that Owen that Luke is safe because he's the thing that we're connected to. He's the kind of the
Mm,
pure innocence that could be corrupted or killed or hurt.
yeah,
And I just it on paper it's interesting until you remember, oh yeah, the whole point of Luke. The whole point of Luke is that he's so bored,
yeah.
you know? And I don't know, it bugs me. I know it's stupid, and I know they said it was Raiders and stuff, but the whole point, the Tuskens aren't really that threatening, you know. Like it also they're like racial stereotypes, but that's a whole other thing. Um, I don't know, that bugged me about the
Mhm.
finale. But otherwise, I do quite like what they did with Reva, but
Yeah.
only after episode 5. They took way too fucking long to get to that point. You know,
Mhm. Yeah, that makes
that's
sense.
all. That's my take. And if you're
Uh,
being racist, shut up. That's all my
yeah, that
that's
too.
yeah.
That's the bigger take, but take away from
Yeah,
this.
no, I know exactly. So it's like
Yeah.
I can handle some kind of over the top performances because I think that's more in the direction and just the character decisions. Then I don't think the action because
I
when
saw
the
like
actress
some.
gets moments to really shine, she shines really well and she's really
Yeah.
good. It's the moments where she's like, "And I will kill you."
It's mainly towards
That's
the beginning of the
so much,
show.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you could argue there was something about like her feeling undermined by the other Inquisitors and stuff,
Mhm.
and I think that's interesting. But just like it doesn't,
At first,
I
it
don't
kind
know.
of comes out of nowhere.
At
Yeah.
first, it like looking back on it, I like it a lot more. But as you're
Mhm.
watching it, especially weekly, you're like, "What the fuck is this character?" You know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
but no,
that's
the
my
show
Reva
needs to
take.
be weekly because they can get them to subscribe. And
The show
it
needs to
just
be
a,
weekly because we can because then we can have discourse every week and get
yeah
trending every week.
about
And then we can
Darth.
forget about it after a week.
I think
I may
also,
not post this on the main channel because by the time we do this, people will stop talking about it.
yeah, which I wonder if that's also. I know people have opinions on Darth Vader in the show. I
Yes.
don't think the fight in Episode 3 should have happened. I feel like or at least it shouldn't have it happened the way that it did. It should have just been
Yeah.
like, oh fuck, Darth Vader's about to burn me, and that's basically all it should have been. You know, I feel like the fact that it was a whole fight, part of that felt like, oh, they're releasing this weekly. They need something to keep the discourse
Yeah.
alive. So let's have our big Vader showdown in Episode 3, and then they kind of maybe run into each other a little bit in 5, but then they run into each other in the finale. And it felt like I, it felt like something where that shouldn't have been a fight. That should have been Obi-Wan just running away. The entire thing should have
I
just
think so
been
too.
kind of
Yeah.
him running away because they started off like that, but then they go into a fight, and I'm like,
Yeah.
why are they fighting? Why does this look really
Why are they
cheap? And
fighting?
why are they fighting?
I do agree because it's like when you think about what we want to do with the show, you want to build up this encounter, right?
Yeah,
And you could have very easily had the same story moments of Obi-Wan has to run from something. Holy shit, down the fucking path, like
mm,
a half mile away, I see Darth Vader. Or,
yeah.
not that far away or whatever. But like we see Darth Vader from afar and like maybe Obi-Wan like ignites his lightsaber and then fucking,
Do
like
you know what I thought they were gonna do? And maybe
hmm,
this is too far because I also don't understand everything that happened in the sequels. I
uh-huh.
thought they were gonna do the thing that happens between Rey and Ben in the sequels, where like they look in a
They
hallway, and even
talk.
though they're different sets, they talk to each other. I
Yeah,
thought that's what they were kind of gonna do,
that
but
is at least as of like right now, that's kind of exclusive to Rey and Kylo
Rey and Ben. Okay,
because
I
they're
didn't know
so
that.
connected. The Force will let you like communicate in like kind of a one-way situation. And
Okay.
like there's a reason why the Jedi still use the little hologram communicators, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Like
true.
like it's more, and also you can sense like feelings, like, oh,
Which
this
is why
person
he can
needs
says
help.
his feelings. Yeah, but
Yeah, but you can't like you can't be like, hey bro, how's it going?
yeah, I guess that makes
Which was really interesting with Rey and Kylo, and that's what made that
yeah,
dynamic fun.
yeah.
Um, but I do think more scenes of them kind of reaching out to each other to kind of sense each other and like more like mental battles could have been interesting.
Yeah.
And I do agree with you. Like if this was a movie, we wouldn't have that encounter. We'd be building
Yeah.
up to that fight,
They
right?
would
Because I
maybe
think
see each other, but then they wouldn't
yeah,
fight. That
yeah,
fight felt weird. I
yeah.
I
I
know
think
that
the last
people.
fight was pretty good. I quite
Yeah,
like the last
the
fight.
the
It's
moment with
ugly.
him,
Oh,
it
the
is
first
very
fight is
ugly.
no, the first fight is hella ugly
It's
though.
really ugly, yeah, because
That
it's just
first, they don't know how
that
to light
fight
him.
looks like it took place. I live in Iowa. Don't
Mm-hmm.
dox me. I live in Iowa. You won't
Now
find
we're
me.
gonna
It's
dox you. I
fucking
know your address.
Iowa.
I could say it right now.
You
I got it
could
off the top of my
technically.
head.
But like near where I grew up, there was stone quarries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was just like it was like a fucking Quaker Oats or some shit, and then it was a bunch of stone quarries. It just looked like they filmed it out there. It did not look like a set. It just looked like, oh, there's a
Well,
couple rock piles, and then
if this were
that's
any
it.
planet but Tatooine, I would agree with you.
Yeah, that's
Because like
true.
because the other there was another planet in Obi-Wan that looked like it was straight out of LA.
Yeah,
That to me, that is how Tatooine was
I
done.
know,
They
but it
went
just
out to the
doesn't
desert
look.
and stuff.
They could have picked something like
I get
nicer,
that.
I
That's
guess.
fair.
But
For me,
even the
it's
rock
like
planet was kind of ugly, but I know it's just like a GIF moment, but him throwing the rocks and shit, that looks badass. You know, it's like a handheld
Yeah, it
camera at the
was.
bottom, and he's
Well,
and it's
I'll
like,
talk about the final fight in a second, but like
yeah,
the that first fight, where that first kind of initial encounter, there were cool moments in there. I did really like where he, it's so out of focus and we just see the lights on
yeah,
his suit and he steps into the focus. I think that's really cool. And then the stuff with the fire was cool, but otherwise they don't know how to light him.
yeah,
It's like, I remember with Batman, when Batman was coming out, sorry, the Batman,
mm,
Rob was kind of no, I think Matt was talking about this. Matt Reeves,
mm,
my best friend Matt Reeves.
yeah,
Talking about him by his first name basis.
but
Yeah.
your buddy Matt,
He
yeah,
was talking about like what Greg Fraser brought to the set and brought to the environment and everything. And a big part was lighting the Batman suit, was
yeah.
lighting the cowl, because it's this all black, mostly dark, mostly dark gray. It's black. It's this thing that is so difficult to light in a way that works.
It looks so different in different lightings too.
Yeah,
Like when you see
it's
it
a
at the
hard
front, it's
thing to
different.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah. And Greg Fraser was like, no, we're going to light it this way. We're going to do this. And that's why it looks so good all the time in that movie, because Greg Fraser killed it.
yeah,
That's why Rogue One looks great, even though I don't really love Rogue One. That's why Vader looks great in Rogue One, because Greg Fraser worked on that movie
yeah.
and knew how to
I
light
think the thing
Vader and knew
that
how to
I
light this
haven't
all black
watched
suit.
all of Rogue One, but
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of the Vader scenes, and it's about silhouettes and fog. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
And it's about like how the light refracts on this super glossy thing that otherwise would look really stupid.
yep,
And it feels like the budget of Obi-Wan didn't allow for that,
yeah.
you
So he's
know?
just walking around
So
like kind of
it doesn't feel as pristine, it doesn't feel as cinematic, which
yeah.
sucks in a show about Obi-Wan, which is
He's like six foot
should be our
two.
big
He's walking
thing.
around, and
Yeah.
he's just like I don't know. It looks like
Yeah.
plastic, kind of. The
Yeah.
helmet looks like plastic.
And that would have been like, I could make do with that
Yeah.
if it weren't for the voice.
All right,
Because,
you
and this
talk
is the
about this.
kicker.
Yeah.
This is the kicker, everybody. All right. Vader has some really good lines in this show. Like notably, right?
Yeah.
The Obi-Wan being like, "What are you? I'm what you made me." I saw the subtitle for that because I watched with subtitles, and I was like, "Oh, that's a good line. That's a killer line right there." And then he said it. I was like, "Oh, you fucked it up," because, and
What the
this
fuck,
is not a disrespect.
Mufasa?
This is
that
not disrespect.
Mufasa?
I'm not disrespecting James Earl Jones. Even though James Earl Jones is getting older, and his performances are changing and stuff. I got no issue. He's a great performer still. Lion King's not great, but he's still a good performer.
Mm.
Because this was not James Earl Jones. This was the AI. What's it called? Speechcraft.
Something like
This
that,
was
yeah.
what they used for Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian season 2,
And he also sounded awkward.
where it's an AI
Come on,
recreation
Grogu.
of an actor's
Walk
voice.
along with me. You know how that?
Yeah.
Remember how that shit sounded awkward?
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, that's how they did Luke. Luke was a CGI fully created character, and his voice was fully CGI, despite Mark Hamill being available. Not CGI, sorry. It was an AI recreation from other recordings of Luke. And people didn't really like that, but Disney was like, no, we're going to do the same thing with Darth Vader, which ironically, I don't like this. It doesn't sound good. Ironically, Vader is the one character it should work for, because the whole thing is that his voice is a speech box. It is text to speech. So that's kind of ironic. Ironic, like Star Wars joke, huh? That you probably don't get.
I didn't get it, no. I'm sitting here with a blank face.
I really laugh at Mithi in the comments. Ha ha ha. He doesn't get
He
he doesn't know
anyway.
he doesn't even know who Darth Plagueis
Based on
is.
everything, I've seen memes of Darth.
This
Plagueis.
motherfucker doesn't even know
They
who Darth
have been laughing
Bane
at me
is.
for the past
This
1
dude
hour.
doesn't know
because
who
of
Quinlan Voss is. What the fuck?
Is Quinlan Voss the guy with the dreads and like the red lightsaber, and he pairs up with like Obi-Wan?
He doesn't have a red
And, like,
lightsaber, but yes, he has dreads. He's got like yellow paint on his face. He was in the
I seen a
background of Phantom
comic
Menace,
thing
and then
of
he had a
him.
book that was amazing, and so I love him.
I saw
He's
a
like my
comic
favorite character
thing of him, and he
He's
looked
great.
cool.
He's got a really good comic too.
Mm.
But so back to Vader and his voice and stuff. So they used that same AI technology for Vader, assumingly, and this is fucked up because they want to be able to continue to use Darth Vader even after James Earl Jones retires / passes away. Which that's a very dark feeling concept that I don't like,
Which
just
is
being
they
which I don't
probably
just
also
like
did that.
flippantly throwing out like that. but that
That's
is very clearly the intent here.
I
And
think they keep
it
thinking
would
about
be
back to what
yeah
happened with Rise of Skywalker, and that's partially why they
yeah
keep making these decisions because of what happened with
yeah.
Carrie Fisher. But I
And
don't know.
so they do this, and you could argue, oh, it doesn't matter if it still sounds good, right? It doesn't sound good. It sounds worse than Luke, because Luke, at least his cadence kind of allows for that a little bit better. But James Earl Jones, the whole point of that character is that his voice is so empowering, and the tone and the way he speaks is like so like, oh god, he's got a presence to him that just you're scared
But
of
you get
this
a lot
guy.
of that in Empire, right? That's
You
I
get a
think
lot of
that's
that in
what I
Empire.
remember.
You get a lot of that in Return of the Jedi. Yeah. Even in Rogue One, it's not his best performance as Vader, but it's still really good. Rebels, it's really good. So he's still able to do it. He's done it recently. Um, but with sorry, I got thrown off. It doesn't sound good because like that line of "What are you? I'm what you made me." That's a great sounding line, right? That's on paper. That sounds so cool. Vader says it like, "What are you? I am what
What
you
you
made
made
me." It's
me.
so it's like the Owen Wilson interview with Loki, where they take
This is the
splices of
first
him.
time for me
Yeah,
in
for
the
me in the
Marvel
Marvel
universe.
universe,
There's one with
it's
Sam Jackson too that they did that for. I don't
yeah,
remember what it
it's
was.
it and it's like that's fine for an ad, whatever. Who cares about that?
Yeah.
But for like actual kind of emotional lines like that, it
Mm.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other moments where like I feel like I see the line on the subtitle, I'm like, oh hell yeah, oh say it, man. And then it's just like, you are strong again, but you
Mm.
are still weak. And it's lacking so much
It's
of the Vader presence, and
even
is
in the
lacking
final
so much
fight,
emphasis.
even in the final
Which
fight,
is
like right
why,
before they
yes,
even no, even in the final fight before they confront each other, because Obi-Wan does the pose and he's all ready and shit,
yeah.
and then like I know he's Vader and he just stands there and he puts out his lightsaber, but it's the kind of the same feeling of like I don't remember what the line was. It was kind of generic, but
Mhm.
it didn't have any gusto to it. It was just like,
Yeah,
all right,
I think a
he's just
lot of his
saying
lines
shit.
were good on paper.
Yeah.
It really is. And there was some other lines with Reva, I can't remember off the top of my head, where I was like, oh, this would have been good if it was said by an actual human being.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, and it sucks. Because I know this for sure, because when he gets his face sliced or his helmet sliced open, and we get Hayden
Mm.
talking at the same time as Vader, which they've done in Rebels. They did it
Yeah.
with Matt Lanter, and it was great. Matt Lanter's I love Matt Lanter so much. He is
Mm.
the best. And I love that scene so much because they did the same thing with Ahsoka. If you
Yeah,
didn't know
yeah.
that,
I've
like
seen that
it's
scene.
literally
I
the same
have seen
scene.
that. Yeah,
It's
yeah, I've
great,
seen this.
and I get
It's a
it.
good scene. Yeah.
I get wanted to redo it. I'm not knocking that.
Mhm.
But they do that, and Hayden does it, and I was
Mm.
like, "Yo,
Yeah.
this is good." Because there's a person behind this. There's a
Yeah.
human being behind this
Is there a
inherently
way for
emotional
them?
character.
I don't know how this works.
Mhm.
Is there a way for them to have just used Hayden's voice?
Not in a way that like would
Would have worked?
appease everybody, unfortunately. And I don't think there's any way they could do this without appeasing everybody except for recasting,
Yeah.
you know? Because it's like because James Earl Jones is getting older, and I
Yeah.
don't want him to, fucking die in the recording booth.
Yeah.
Like again, this is fucked up to talk about because he's a human being and stuff, but like it's
He's
gross.
getting older. Yeah. No, that's part of it.
He's becoming he's becoming Stan Leified in a way that makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
Stanley at the end of his life was a product that was
Mm.
being milked.
Is still kind of
You
a
know,
product
it
because
is
of
still a
Twitter.
product who's being milked for NFTs. I call this
Yeah.
NFT Vader, by the way, because he's like an NFT of a
Yeah.
character.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like I almost feel like we haven't been able to find an actor who can do the Vader voice just yet, but there has to be somebody out there.
Mm.
There's got to be a Kevin Michael Richardson who could, because it's like Keith David to Kevin Michael Richardson was flawless and
Yeah.
spectacular.
Mm.
It's not that Keith David died or anything, but similar situation.
Yeah.
There has to be somebody out there who can do it as well. Maybe not as well, but well enough.
Mm.
Because it's like it just kills so much, because Anakin is an emotional character.
Yeah.
Vader is hiding it, right?
Mm.
But like Vader hides it with his persona.
Mm.
But the persona is being messed with this cadence of "I am what you made me,"
Yeah.
And it doesn't work as well. And it
Voice
sucks
is
because it
such
should have worked.
voice
Yeah.
is such an important part of acting because you
It
can
is
get
the acting. Yeah.
because you can get even stuff I've done. It's like you can get a character to say something, but
Mhm.
like I mean, there's a reason why even I don't love the way Fincher does it, but when he like takes a scene like 100 fucking times with his actors, it's because they get a certain cadence to the way they say a line, and that's what he wants the direction to be. Is he wants it to be like they're running the line because they know the fucking line as if it's just their own line. They're not reading from
Yeah.
the script. And when it's an AI shit like this, it's so clearly reading from some kind of script that it's
Yeah.
always going to sound awkward like this.
But
And
the
I
AI
don't.
doesn't have emotion. It's a
Yeah,
computer.
yeah,
So
exactly.
you can't act. You inherently can't act, and you can't be creative without emotion. It's
Yeah,
why these
exactly.
Dolly pictures, as funny as they are, that's not real art,
No,
and
yeah,
it can never be real art.
yeah.
And I feel like that's the same with these AI things. It's never going to be. And maybe James Earl Jones was involved in the recording booth slightly, right?
Mhm.
I
Like
feel like
read
he
the
was the
dictionary. Yeah,
same way Mark Hamill was with Luke.
yeah.
But the core of the performance is this AI,
Mm,
and you have these two characters that have such a connection
yeah,
that when you don't have the emotional performance, it just isn't there.
yeah.
And maybe you could have. I'm still thinking about what you said about like, is there a way we could have used Hayden?
Would that?
And I
I
don't
know
think it.
fans would maybe be mad because it's like, oh, it needs to be James Earl Jones's voice because it's Vader. But like,
Yeah,
at a certain point, I think, is it okay to break that a little?
I think what they could have done to keep it in canon with everything.
Mm.
Again, canon doesn't really matter, but like, it to hear Hayden voice Vader would feel wrong because the whole
Yeah.
point is that they're different people
No,
and
it can't
stuff.
just be his raw voice. Yeah.
Yeah, what they could have done potentially. I know we were just talking about how most other characters can't do this, but maybe you could have done. Maybe Vader isn't speaking out loud, but he's projecting his thoughts into Obi-Wan, and so
Mm,
we're hearing Hayden's voice
yeah.
in this taunting way. I don't think it would have worked as well. I don't think it's as like it's not a perfect
You'd have
solution,
to
but
do a
that's
lot
an
more legwork
option.
to establish that too, probably.
Exactly. Yeah, and I don't think that could, you know, um, but it sucks because it's like Hayden deserved to be in the show way more
Yeah.
because he was great. Everything he was in was fucking flawless, and
Yeah.
like maybe that's the nostalgia talking, but I do think because I do love the Anakin character, and I think it's great that he
Because
got
he's
this
in. I
opportunity to
mean,
really
he's in the
shine.
suit for like all of it.
Yeah, but it's like you
He's
could
not.
put James Earl Jones in the suit. Does that
Yeah.
make it special? Not really, because it's not the performance. It's a physical performance, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? It
For
just
some
doesn't
of
work
the
as well.
scenes in this episode, you could put fucking me in the suit, and it's not going to
Yeah,
change anything
like you
because he's
could.
just standing there.
Because
Yeah,
that's all Vader does. He just stands there menacingly. He's just.
yeah.
It's like this. Oh, you don't get this. Fuck! It's a SpongeBob meme. Everybody. He's just
I
standing there
know the
menacingly.
fucking okay. I've seen the clip. I'm
Mithi's never
not
seen
illiterate.
SpongeBob.
I have
Mithi knows
seen
nothing
the
about
clip.
SpongeBob.
I have seen the episode where Squidward meets the concrete people. Okay, and the episode where um
The concrete people?
I think they're concrete people. He goes like somewhere, and then there's like a bunch of concrete people, and then he like because he's covered in concrete, and then there's a this tribe which like
Oh,
with a,
you watch new SpongeBob. Okay.
I
Okay.
don't think that's new. Is that new Sponge? Maybe that is new SpongeBob.
To me, anything after season like 3 is new SpongeBob.
Maybe it is. I don't know.
Because old
Also,
SpongeBob
I
was
know the
killer.
episode where Sandy is really mad and gets like
When
really
she's
like angry.
hibernating?
Yeah, yeah, that one.
Yeah. No, that's a good episode. Yeah, that's
That's
classic. Anyway, like, I don't know. That's my kind of take with Vader. It's like we had all these, like, we had a great script throughout this whole show.
yeah,
Like, I loved the Leia stuff. I loved, like, the kind of emotional beats. This whole episode's going to be on Obi-Wan. Fuck it. I don't care.
yeah, yeah. No,
We're not talking about the Spider-Man Lotus situation.
I don't know.
What are we going to talk about? If you
Go
ask
to
about
Twitter.
that,
It's
go to
fucking
Twitter.
trending. Go
What
see
do you
that.
if you know anything about me? What do you think? How do you think I feel? But yeah, like it's the Vader stuff is just the emotions aren't there, and so those scenes, as great as they're written, the Leia stuff is well written. There's a lot of good stuff that's really well written in the show, but it's lacking and it feels off because
Yeah.
it's like an uncanny valley of a performance,
Yeah.
because it is. It's a robot,
Yeah.
I don't
There's
know.
only supposed to be one robot on the show. The little the droid thing. Is that in the?
That was
is,
weird too. I didn't
Is
like
that
that
part
thing.
of like the?
That feels
that's not
like
in the New Hope,
like a
right?
no. That
Yeah.
feels like a fucking. I don't know. Star Wars really just loves to be like, now we have a cute droid you can buy at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge now.
It's that. Oh, that is why. Oh.
Like that's like so they did the same thing with like BB-8. I like BB-8. I got ahead of him. I got his head. You guys want to see his head? I'm gonna be right back. I'm getting the severed head of BB-8. I never really showed this off to anybody.
Troy's actually going to sever the head of BB-8. He is committing droid manslaughter as we speak.
This is BB-8's severed head that
He
I
looks
built with my
lifeless
3D
because
printer,
of
and then I
the
told
eye.
myself I'd build the rest of it. I
And
was
then
like,
you,
"Oh, I'm gonna build the rest of this guy," and then I never did. So
because
that's
there's
what
nothing in
happened
the
there.
eye, it looks kind of
That was
lifeless.
like
I
my
think that's
whole
funny.
thing. I was obsessed with this. I was like obsessed with that as a concept. So I really like BB-8,
Yeah.
but fuck that one from Rise of Skywalker, the J.J. Abrams voiced one, the little green guy, BD1. Is that his name?
The one that was like rolling around. It was like
Yeah,
he
fuck
looked
that one.
like a
That one's stupid. We don't need that one.
yeah.
And then fuck this robot. Also, because it was named after the dog that I really liked that is no longer alive, and it made me sad. Not
What?
named after; it's the same name.
I
Lola. My
forgot
dog's
the
name was
name.
Lola. Wow,
Oh, okay.
wow. You hate my
I
dog, Mithi?
no, not I didn't.
Wow, wow, Mithi.
Goodness,
No, I
you
mean,
get
like,
rid
I
of
get it. I get
yeah.
what they were doing with that droid. I just didn't care. It was just like this
It
feels like
felt
stuff.
kind of
This we just
did
got
it
to scrap.
start
We just
from
got to
he
add too
needs
much.
did it start from they need to find a way to track them and then they were like, oh, funny droid, or was it like, oh,
Yeah,
let's
I
have
mean,
a
there were
funny
a couple
droid?
moments of like, oh, that's kind of nice. Of like, oh, she helps people that are scared, and Obi-Wan
Yeah,
being like, oh, I could use that right now. Like that
yeah,
was that because it's like I do think the relationship with Leia and Obi-Wan
yeah.
was really well done. I like was not expecting to
No,
enjoy that
yeah,
this
it's
much.
good.
Like it
Especially
shouldn't have
episode
been
3.
good. Like
Everything in episode
on
3 was
paper that
great.
should have sucked. On
Yeah.
paper that should have been fucking terrible. But no, they did a really good job with that, and I think that's a big because it could have been easy to just be oh look it's Leia but they did a good job.
Did you like
And like
the supporting characters like Kamal Nanjiani and the other lady who was like helping them?
I forgot they were in the show.
Yeah.
Cameo was fine. I like Cameo, but he's also like he's so I know him. I've known him for so long with
Yeah.
his comedy stuff that like seeing him made me like, oh, that's a celebrity cameo.
He's got a hell of a jawline now for
Yeah, oh that
reasons.
too. But no, but just the fact of like it's like seeing it would be like if Chris Evans was in Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's like we know Chris Evans. This
Yeah.
is weird.
Yeah.
He's so big.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Daisy Ridley and John Boyega they were relatively unknowns. Like I think Star
Yeah.
Wars is best when they're
I
unknowns
was
and
like, "Oh
stuff.
my god, is that Bollywood star Kingo from the hit film Eternals?"
Was he Kingo? Yeah, I forgot. I don't remember
Yeah.
anything from Turtles.
I only know that because they mentioned him in Miss Marvel. But
but
but yeah.
I did actually surprisingly. What was her name? Tala,
Yeah, yep.
the Imperial girl
I
who was like a
recognize that
spy.
actress from something. I
I
don't know
do too,
what.
and I don't know what.
I'm
And
gonna
I'm
look it
mad
up.
at
I'm gonna
myself.
look it up.
Yeah, you should look it up.
Oh,
Because she was actually I hate to be like this, but Disney's not always the best when writing women. I'm
yeah.
not in like a incel
Inder of
fucking
Arma, she's
quarter kind of way.
Indian. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I knew that. Wow, no, I'm not saying anything.
I did think that Game of
but like,
Thrones.
yeah, that's what I know her from.
She is in Game of Thrones. What is she else is she in? She's in something else too.
She probably died. I think she died in Game of Thrones.
Maybe that's probably what she's in.
Probably
Exodus.
realistically.
I haven't seen that. Is this a Bollywood movie? No, this is not a Bollywood. Maybe it is no, it is a Bollywood movie. Okay, I don't think I watched it, but she's in a Bollywood movie, so maybe that.
All right, that's cool. But I remember like I saw the preview of the episode and I saw her and I was like, oh, this could go bad because I saw new female character, which did like not in. I'm not saying this in like a quartering right wing racist sexist way, but Disney is not always the best when writing women. Like some of them feel very flat and shallow. Ray's
also,
great,
she's going to be
but
in
like
Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. I saw that.
That's cool. Good for her. And I saw this and I was like, oh, I hope they don't go girl boss fascist. That would be weird.
They didn't.
And
exactly.
I was a little scared because like it always I get it, but it does make me a little weird when like a bunch of the Imperial officers who are literally Nazis are presented as like look at our female empowerment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on, that's not
Did they try to do that with Phasma?
Yeah, they kind of did. And but at least with Phasma, she was like no, she wasn't about it. And we don't know anything about Phasma actually. Just kidding.
Because she just fucking died, right? So it's like spoiler.
She had a cool costume, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's always made me uncomfortable.
She had
I was
a
like,
Fortnite
I hope they don't lean too much into it. It feels like Star Wars Galaxy's Edge when the Nazis are walking around
Captain
and they're like,
Phasma.
hey, where's Chewbacca? We want to go arrest him.
Captain
Phasma
had one of the bonus skins from Fortnite as her costume. Think about that.
Wait, the bone, like as a
because it's just like
the
Stormtrooper outfit. Yeah, it
Let me
was just
see.
one of the battle pass bonus outfits.
I still
I,
like that costume. I don't care.
it's a good costume. I just think about that, and
My
it's kind of
point
fun.
is, by the way, because you keep interrupting me
I
and making
do.
me
I'm
seem
doing
racist
it
and
down.
sexist,
Yeah. No. Yeah.
you're
I'm
literally
sorry.
just letting people write comments and shit.
Yeah.
I was concerned that this was going to be that situation of girl boss fascist, and instead this was a really cool character that was really well written and had I was very interested in her, and I was not expecting that, and I think that's really cool. The show consistently surprised me with things that I thought I was worried about, and it did really well. So that's
I
really
thought
good.
she was
Good
gonna
job.
die at the very beginning, and then she didn't. So I was like, "Oh, okay, she's maybe gonna
I
stick
knew she was
around."
gonna die though. I saw the
I
second she was like, "Yeah, I'm a good guy. I'm a spy for the Empire." I was like, "Oh, you're not making it. You're not
that's
making it
why
to
I
the end of
thought
the show."
there were a lot of opportunities where she thought I thought she was gonna die, and then she died when I thought she wasn't going to die. But then
Yeah,
when she was like about to die, I'm like, "Oh yeah, no, she's dying." So I'm not
yeah. That
illiterate
is.
at media consumption. I'm just close to illiterate at
I really
media
like the way you
consumption.
worded that. I really
Yeah.
like. There were times where I thought she was gonna die, but then she didn't die. But then she died at the time that I didn't think she was gonna die. But then she did die at that time.
Yeah, and then I knew she was gonna die.
But I mean, like, she was good and she was
Yeah,
fun. They mentioned Quinlan in that episode with her, so I think I have a
yeah.
overall positive feeling about that.
Did you like Vader walking through the city and killing a bunch of people? That's
It
another
was
scene that
fucked up.
I
It was
thought it
fucked
was.
up,
I
but
thought it was fucked up, and I thought it was kind of badass, even though it was lit
it was
weirdly.
cool.
Yeah,
I don't know. As like obviously Order 66, Anakin goes and kills the younglings.
yeah.
That's like the worst thing he's done. I
He
think we
kills
could
kids.
unequivocally say. I guess he blows
Yeah,
up a building, or not blows up. He blows up a planet. But like
yeah.
that's, and I remember as a kid being like, that's a little far.
It's the most
The killing the
inhumane
kids.
thing he's
It's
done.
so like
You know,
like that's crazy.
because he's going in. He's
And
like
I would
going and
never have
doing the thing.
expected them to lean into that direction in modern Star Wars, but he kind of did. And some of those people looked really young.
Yeah.
Some of those people looked like
Even the
18
shot
at
where
the young,
he's
at
just
the
even the
oldest.
shot where he's looking at her, he's like, "Hmm?"
Like, and he's dragging this lady by her hair across
Yeah.
the ground as she's screaming. I'm like, wow, this is a little much.
He's kind
Like,
of a
dude, you're
bad
scary. I
guy.
get it. We get you're scary, Darth Vader.
Yeah.
But it was still cool. It was it was neat and stuff. It wasn't
It
like
did
Darth
catch me
Vader.
off guard. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't love Rogue One, but the hallway fight, as much as it's ruined Star Wars, is a cool scene.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that level of, because that was like still kind of on the, I don't know.
Mhm.
It was crazy. It was
Yeah.
wild. He broke that kid's neck, and I was like, oh Jesus
Yeah.
Christ! And we saw it.
I was like, they're doing that in a Star Wars show. Okay,
Because
all right.
normally Vader just chokes people or cuts them in half.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
doesn't break necks.
That
That's
episode
not his
did,
thing.
that episode had the guy, the truck driver who was racist. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, fuck
And
that guy.
yeah.
I get that's a cool scene. I really like that scene.
Everyone was
Or that
making
whole
jokes though
plot.
about them walking around the fence. I even when I was watching that, I couldn't think about that. I couldn't stop thinking about that. Where I'm like, just walk around, man. You don't have to shoot the fence.
Yeah,
But it is what it is. It's Star
It's
Wars.
Star
Who
Wars.
cares? Yeah.
It's Star Wars. It's all magic anyway.
Yeah.
Even when they say it's not magic, it's magic.
It's yeah.
Um,
Are they going to do a season 2?
I hope not. If they do, I don't want them to do Luke stuff. Again, I think the whole point of Luke is that nothing happened to him.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to build that relationship, but only in a, hey, I stopped by, I brought you a toy. Hey man, I'm kind of like your,
And it's
your
too
like
early
triple
to
uncle,
do Cal, right? It's too early to do Cal.
Well, Cal's is getting his own show.
Yeah, but even still, just throw him in for like
Maybe.
Ashoka's getting her own show.
I think
Just
if
throw
they're
him
gonna
in.
do a season 2, Obi-Wan should be the only Jedi. And if there is another Jedi, it should be like a Quinlan who's kind of a more grayer sort of, because where is the arc in a season 2, right? Because this was overcoming the trauma of Vader to reach this higher plane of existence so he can finally talk to Qui-Gon, right? And
Yeah.
now he's kind of already at the point that Alec Guinness was at, emotionally speaking.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
He just needs to do
quote,
fun adventures.
not to quote the
really.
finale song from the Buffy musical episode, but where do we go from here? That was a really funny reference that you didn't get.
I didn't get it. No.
I think most people didn't get that, so I don't know. Blame it on you.
Yeah, I know. Joss Whedon did Buffy. That's all I know about Buffy.
Well, I gotta ruin shit that I like.
Sorry.
I know.
I saw a Nathan
Like,
Fillion clip
don't
of him
pretend
talking
like
about
I don't like.
Joss
Yeah, we're not
Whedon.
talking about that. We're not talking about that.
Yeah. Is it just fun adventures? He can't meet Darth Maul again, right? Because they have the moment in Rebels where
They did it
that's
in
their
Rebels, and
Yeah.
that episode of Rebels is great if you cut out some really stupid stuff. uh, and I hope they don't do Maul,
Yeah.
because the whole point is that that's the thing. Whenever you try and fill in these gaps, because we've already told so many stories with some of these characters, Rebels literally, it was vague about it, but it pretty clearly established that Maul thought Obi-Wan died in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Maul thought Obi-Wan died with Order 66, and then was very surprised to find out he was still alive.
Yeah.
If they
That's where
retcon
he
it
goes
into being,
Kenobi, right?
oh, Maul thought Obi-Wan died 4 years earlier and turns out to be alive,
Yeah.
it's just like, again, we did the same shit with Vader,
Mhm.
Like, initially we thought, oh, I haven't seen him since Revenge of the Sith. They retcon it to 10 years after that. Still kind of a long time ago, and I can live with it,
Mhm.
but still doesn't really work as well,
Yeah, because you can't bring Vader back now. That
No, I
yeah.
wouldn't hate if they get a voice actor to voice him. There has been talks apparently about Hayden starring in a Vader show, and as somebody that read the comic, I am 100% down for that, because I love that comic. That comic, if have you, I'm assuming you haven't read that comic.
I have not read the comics.
It is
I
the
know the Vader
period
comics are
between.
very good. I don't know which ones they are
It's
though.
well, there's a lot of good Vader comics. The one I'm talking about is the one between 4 and 5, and there's this fucking phenomenal moment where Vader realizes that the guy that blew up the Death Star, his last name is Skywalker, and he just fucking loses it. And like, he's trying to repress it all, and he cracks the windshield of the fucking of the glass in front of him.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's such a great moment. And it's a really good comic. And I wouldn't hate, because there's a lot of little nuances to the character and his
Because he's
relationship
meant
with
to have that
Palpatine.
revelation between 4 and 5.
Yeah, and I wouldn't do
Yeah.
anything with Luke and stuff, but I wouldn't hate a show about the relationship between Palpatine and Vader, because I feel like such a fucking Star Wars loser now. I'm sorry, I'm a big Star Wars fan, everybody, and I never talk about it. There has been so much stuff left unsaid about that, because this show and a lot of other media would have you believe, oh yeah, Vader respects Palpatine. They're a master and apprentice, and they like each other.
Yeah, they got
Vader
that scene at the
fucking
end.
hates
And shit.
Palpatine.
Yeah.
Vader fucking hates him so much. And the reason, so Vader's suit is intentionally terrible, is intentionally clunky, is intentionally like low tech, because Palpatine wants to control him better and give him more pain and like physically hurt Anakin more to make him stronger and stuff like that. And Anakin knows this. Anakin like, it's so fucking interesting.
Isn't there something like that too? With I remember seeing this. Maybe it was just a YouTube comment, but I was watching some stuff from, I think, Starkiller, the guy that's the video
If
game
they brought
character.
Starkiller in, I'd fucking nut. I love that guy.
I
I love
remember
him.
seeing a comment that was like, he has a romantic relationship with someone. Vader tries controlling him through that, and that's meant to parallel the way that
That could be
Palpatine
interesting.
controls Vader with Padme or something. Which is like, that's grounds for a show eventually. But I mean,
Yeah.
they also did it already in a game, which I keep running to this circle.
But
Just
okay, to be fair,
the
the game isn't canon anymore. They decanonized the games.
Yeah.
So, and I think the new Fallen Order sequel is going to bring Starkiller back. That's my theory. Is he's going to show up in some way or another. It's harder now with the Inquisitors, but like, you could, that would be really interesting. I wouldn't hate that. I think that'd be really fun.
Everything that happens with Star Wars past Force Awakens is now canon, right? The games are canon.
Yeah, I think Clone Wars has been canonized. Everything everything that was in Clone Wars, and then everything since Disney owns it.
Yeah. Okay.
And a lot of things have kind of retrospectively gone back. Like, a lot of writers have just been like referencing things that they like, and being like, "Oh, this happened." Like, Fallen Order specifically. There was I think it was like Republic Commando was a game, like kind of way back, that a lot of people really liked. It was decanonized by Disney, and then Fallen Order, you could find like little clone people, like little clone corpses. That sounds fucked up. And like little recordings and stuff of them talking, and they would be describing the plot of that game, and it so recanonized that game and stuff in kind of at least like a loose way. So they could do something similar with Starkiller.
That's such a weird thing about Star Wars.
But Starkiller's also really OP. If they bring him in, they gotta take him down.
You got like
he's stupid
power
OP.
Shit and like 2 lightsabers, and
he
can
okay.
Like,
a lot of people have 2 lightsabers. A lot of people have 2
no,
lightsabers.
That's true. But I saw a thing where he like,
some people have 4.
Oh no, I've seen that guy. He was so cool, and then he
He goes,
died instantly. I've seen the Lego game mission where Isaiah was playing it, and then he cut off all his hands, and then you're fighting with Commander Codex or something. I don't remember the fucking orange dude.
You mean Commander Cody?
Cody, yeah, Commander Cody. That's what it was, and that was his favorite.
You
character.
gotta watch Clone Wars. I'm gonna really. You should watch Clone
Yeah,
Wars.
I probably.
I'll give you like a watching list of like the essential stuff because it is pretty great.
Yeah,
and I really love Clone Wars.
The weird thing with Star Wars too is like every mistake has to kind of mean something canon wise. Where you think about Marvel and DC, and even like when fucking Homecoming made the mistake, they're like, yeah, that was just a thing, and then people.
Well, Homecoming wasn't a mistake. It was like, guys, wait us out. We're gonna fix it. It was like we're gonna explain it later.
Yeah,
you know.
But and it's just kind of funny that Star Wars is so like since the beginning,
it's very cut and dry.
Yeah, and I wonder.
I think a lot of Star Wars fans. You can't very much farther. I think a lot of fans are going to have to go the Doctor Who route pretty soon.
Yeah,
because Doctor Who, there's no canon there.
Yeah.
Like I kind of learned this at a young age.
When they want to, right?
Just who cares? You know, they motherfuckers will write stories that they want to write, and then if it lines up with something, they'll reference it. If it doesn't line up with something, there will be a passing reference of like, "Oh, this doesn't. Wait, what about? Oh, shut up."
Yeah,
that's and I think Star Wars fans are going to have to figure that out themselves pretty soon.
When is that? That has to be a big moment though, because it's Star Wars, right?
Like. And it's never going to come from because right now it's like Filoni is the one controlling the canon. And I think Filoni's going to step down in, 10, 15 years and be like, guys, I'm sorry. I didn't train a new Filoni. You're on your own here. Because that's the thing is that George Lucas taught Dave Filoni, or maybe Freddy Prinze Jr. will be that. I don't know. Because Freddy Prinze Jr. learned from Filoni kind of everything about Star Wars.
Really?
Because he played Kanan, and like Filoni taught him everything because he played the lead of Rebels, or he was supposed to be the lead of Rebels.
Okay, all right.
Freddie Prinze Jr. is the best. I love that guy. I hope nothing comes out about him that makes him suck. And
all I know is he wasn't invited to the Spider-Man premiere because Sam Raimi told him he couldn't come to.
Why would he go to the Spider-Man premiere?
Because he was in the rolling for it, I think. Freddie.
He wasn't in it though.
No, he was in he was auditioning for Spider-Man.
Motherfucker, you think we're gonna bring everybody who auditions for a movie to the premiere?
But he wasn't allowed to get a ticket. Not to the premiere, to get a ticket to the
movie?
Yeah, something happened between him and Sam Raimi. That's what I heard. That's true. I don't know.
How do you police that?
Mr. Sunday Movies, okay?
How do you say, sorry, man, you auditioned for this role. You can't come inside.
Remember when Sam Raimi said...
Of the most popular movie in the world at the moment of 2002.
This is, again, supposedly Sam Raimi said... if it were up to me, he wouldn't even be allowed to see the movie, according to about Freddie Prinze.
If it were up to him,
so I guess it wasn't technically. Yeah, Raimi later denied it, but it's too good not to be true.
It's not like Sam watched Freddie's credit card and had a sniper on the roof the whole time, being like, "All right, if you get something from AMC, you take the shot."
Yep, exactly. Supposedly he blew his audition. I don't fucking know what happened.
That's fine. You know what, man? Good for you, Fred. He's Fred and Scooby-Doo and he killed it. Good for you. Yeah. But cinema. He's the only guy that I could see being the new Filoni, And so it's like, I think they gotta drop the single person being the canon guy. You know, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
And yeah, canon's rough. And Star Wars fans are going to have to learn from it.
I guess it could be Deborah because she's doing more Star Wars. She did this. She did Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But I don't know what she's doing.
I don't know. I need to see more stuff from her. I was not really thrilled on the direction of the show. Nothing against her. I don't even like to know the names of people involved.
She did good episodes of Mandalorian. People like her episodes for Mandalorian. So
it must have been a budget thing then. It must have been like maybe Hayden and Ewan and Jimmy Smits and the little fucking cameo from Palpatine, and McDermott. And, maybe they were just so expensive that we and Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Which as much as a glup shadow as that was,
I
really liked the line of like, I've been here the whole time, you just didn't see it.
Yeah.
And like kind of like implying like you have to be at like this kind of this higher plane of like understanding of the Force and of yourself to be able to communicate with the dead in a way like that. I really like that. I think that was really
I really love the edits of him wearing sunglasses and like holding.
That's also very funny. Those are also quite funny. Because it was weird. It was really weirdly done.
That would have fit the tone of the scene, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just
it was very weirdly done. Again, it's really well written. Yeah. It's just the execution. I think the execution of the show is like lacking severely. you know,
No, I think that
in
makes
a lot
sense.
of the ways. In a lot of ways, it works really well, but a lot of the ways it doesn't.
Which is
Also,
weird because I feel like
I forgot to mention the flashbacks.
yeah.
As fun as the flashbacks were, I liked them. It was so funny to see 40-year-old Hayden pretend
It's
to be
when he
16.
smiles
I
specifically
did
when
mention
he's
this
like,
already. Actually, you're right. I did mention this. Never
you
mind.
did, but like
I feel
it's
like I
when
did.
when he smiles and you see the
Yeah.
wrinkles, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's not.
It's like,
He's
oh
not.
wow. Well, it's because it's also a blue light, and
Yeah,
blue light is really not flattering for wrinkles and like skin.
yeah,
So you, even though he looks great still, Hayden, you killed it. You look amazing.
yeah.
Like any imperfections in your skin are gonna show a lot more prominently
Because
with
there's
a
a
harsh
blue.
blue light in front of you,
That's
and
the other
the
thing.
subsurface scattering.
I only noticed this because of Mauricio's thumbnail. But like the
Mhm.
scenes when they're going back and forth between Anakin and Obi-Wan, it looks good, but it's such a harsh fucking light. The lightsaber
The
light on
blues of the
Obi-Wan's face.
lightsabers was way stronger than normal.
Yeah, yeah. It
Like
like
if
it
you
just
look at Force
completely blues out
Awakens,
his face. He looks like a fucking
like
Avatar character.
like I remember Force Awakens was kind of the first one where I was like, oh wow, the lightsabers are actually emanating light in this scene. That's really cool because they're using practical lightsabers that aren't just wooden sticks, but they're like they've got a light and LEDs and stuff like it, like an actual toy lightsaber and stuff. Versus the prequels, which was just CGI and stuff. And I was like, that's really cool. And so we see it on the actor and stuff. But it was never like a flashlight.
Yeah.
Like the idea of the lightsaber illuminating being the only light in the scene is interesting, but it's super overpowering of blue.
Yeah.
And same with the blasters, and same with Vader's lightsaber and stuff. To the point where it's like, oh wow, this is a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like even
it was
for
cool. Yeah,
even
sorry.
for Vader, like he had the mask half of it, so it was kind of blocking it, so you can see the texture on Hayden's face.
Yeah.
But every time it kept coming back to Obi-Wan, and he's like supposed to be crying or something. He's supposed to be tearing up, but you can't really see it perfectly just
Yeah.
because it's so like washed out blue.
And I
it's-
wonder if a
don't know.
bigger budget or if a better cinematographer on set would have caught that or would have done a
Yeah.
better job with the lighting of it. Because
Because you
again,
can't
on
even
paper,
see the
like, paper
lightsaber in
for
the
a-
scene.
on-
Yeah.
Yeah. On paper for a fan project, and that sounds so mean, but like for a fan project, we're going to do a short film, but the only illuminating light source is the lightsabers and the blasters. That's really interesting on paper. But for this big project, for this big high budget studio thing, it just doesn't look right. Like it's so blue on him.
I wonder how much of it
He looks
was
like
direction
Tobias
choice.
in Arrested Development. He blew himself.
I wonder how much of it was direction and how much of it was budget. Because
Yeah,
this
and I
is
don't want to
supposed to
blame
be
a
the
specific
thing,
person.
right?
This is the big Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
This is the biggest thing probably since Rise of Skywalker, or maybe Mandalorian.
At least it's the most notorious thing because they were like they
This is
announced
the biggest
this.
name.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they're not pouring more. It sounds wrong
Pour
to say
more
why
money
are they
into- no,
not
pour
pouring
more
more
money
money
into
into
this.
it? But why?
Yeah,
aren't
you'd think they
you know?
would, but I think because they know they can get maybe Disney knows they can get away with just giving every show the same budget.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense for Obi-Wan.
Because how much it's hard to stay with stream, but how much are any of these
Because we don't
shows
know.
making in general? We don't.
I think it's a matter of like just keeping people subscribed.
Yeah.
So it's like if they have a show that has discourse, then they think that's a success, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And you can make discourse without something being perfect.
Yeah. Which is kind of what part of this is.
That's disappointing. Yeah. I had another take, but I can't even remember it. But it just overall, it was like, oh, I meant to talk about this. Remember in the scene in the first episode, not the first fight with Vader, where Kenobi ignites his lightsaber and stuff.
Yeah, and then he runs away.
Firstly, I think that should have been a more powerful scene. That could have been a much bigger moment.
I'll say one quick note. Red Letter Media did an edit of it where it's just him. He lights the lightsaber. Obi-Wan's there. He runs away. Obi-Wan turns around. He turns around. Vader lights the lightsaber again. He looks. He runs away. He shows up. Vader lights
That's
the
really
lightsaber.
Because that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Because he ignites the lightsaber. He's like, oh fuck. He de-ignites the lightsaber, and then he runs off frame. But then if you look at the edit, he goes off stage right. But then he comes back from stage right, so it looks like he just ran off and ran back in. It's so funny. It's I like saw that. I was like, oh god, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
They should have just mirrored the fucking scene.
I know it should have like just the progression of the cut just doesn't work, and it feels so mean. But it's like that's a basic edit.
Yeah,
that's such a simple thing. I don't know how they missed that. And
it's more like Fanboy re-edits.
Really,
yeah.
it's so funny to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know, and like so much of the others, just the cinematography, the visuals of it just weren't up to par, I think, with what
Yeah.
Star Wars should be.
Yeah.
You know,
Which is sad, but I mean, I
it's
for
sad because
some
it's
people
Star
that was a
Wars.
I know for some people that was a good thing. People didn't want a flashy show. They were like, I kind of like that it's a stupid
It's
fight
not.
in a.
It's not flat. I don't need it to be flashy.
Mm.
I don't care about that. But I need it to have like at least an essence of cinematography, or an essence
Yeah,
of
it
feeling
felt
like a
worse than the
cinema.
Mandalorian, and I was going in with
Oh
Mandalorian
yeah, because
expectations, and
Mandalorian looks great even in the
yeah,
seasons that don't look good, that aren't good, or season
yeah.
singular.
Even like the
Um,
Boba Fett episode looks better than this. I want it. Not all
yeah.
of Boba Fett, but that Mandalorian episode, it looks better
Yeah,
than
I
this.
still haven't seen. I still need to watch Boba Fett. I probably won't. I'm gonna be
Just
real.
watch
I'm
the
sorry.
fifth episode if you want to watch
Is that
anything. Just
someone with
watch it.
Luke in it?
No, no, the one before. It's the one before the one with Luke. It's just
Oh,
Mando,
okay.
and it's only him on like a
Okay, I'll
planet.
watch it then. All right. Um, yeah, just and I don't like saying this because it sounds so mean, and I know for a fact that they're like you know, these people are talented and stuff, so it has to be a budget thing, but it comes across as like a fan film
Yeah,
for a lot of it, which like is cool for a fan film. It's a
yeah,
great fan film, but it's not great for a Disney made official product that probably had millions of dollars poured into it,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And that sucks. I like the scene in the fourth episode, even though I don't like the fourth episode that much. I did like when he took out the stormtroopers in the dark. That's
Yeah,
from a
that's a good scene.
game.
Yeah,
It's literally from a game, but it was
really.
still cool.
Is it
Yeah,
also
it's from
Fallen Order?
the trailer for no, not Fallen Order. It was like the trailer for I think either Force Awakens 2 or Knights of the Old Republic 2. No, not Knights of the Republic 2 because there wasn't
Is it a
stormtroopers.
Star
So it
Killer
must have been Star
scene?
Killer.
Because I think I
Yeah,
remember seeing a Star Killer
it was
take
like one
down
of
a
those
guy
CG
with that.
cutscenes. I think it was a trailer.
Yeah,
I want to say. But even then, it was actually cooler in that because he took out like 10 people in that scene. But this was
yeah.
just two, which, like, whatever. I don't care too much about
It's
that. I
just
think I
like
get.
they move the camera like
Mhm.
really handheld in close combat scenes, but then in wide establishing shots, it's just like really awkwardly wide, and then it's just
Yeah.
like vroom, vroom, and then it's like it's but they're like a little corner. You know, if this is the screen, the action scene takes place like with the evil car over here. Like that's the size of the
That's
action.
the
You can't.
evil car.
I don't.
I don't
They can't
remember
even
the
see
plot
it
of
because
Cars
it's
2
cut
enough.
off. They can't even
Oh, that's
see it
right.
because it's cut off. God damn it.
I
Um,
I'm
but
looking
like it
at
takes
this and
place
I'm
like
like,
right
I
here.
only
You
know
know.
fucking Tow Mater and Lightning
Okay,
McQueen,
so
and then
first
Michael
off, I
Caine.
just want to give everyone this is the anniversary of Cars. Cars 2 was
So
released.
thanks everybody for joining us on this
So
episode
I
of
just
Fanboy
want to
Talk. I
make
had a
sure
really good
you
time.
all know that this
I
is
kind of like just
Lightning
talking about
McQueen.
one thing the whole time.
This
That was actually
is
kind of fun.
Tomater. This is
I
Flynn
got some
McMissile
videos
car
coming
that
out
you can't
soon. I'm
see.
waiting on sponsor stuff. Spider-Man 6 pre-writes coming out eventually. If you're here from the main channel, if I post this on the main channel,
You
thanks
guys
so
should
much for
all watch
watching us. Thanks so much
this.
for joining.
You guys should all watch Cars 2. This is the plane in Cars 2. This is the first introduction of a plane character in the Cars world.
That's not even true. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. That's such a lie. Oh my god. Oh my god. You don't even know the universe that you like. Oh my god. There was clearly a plane at the opening of Cars 1. The opening of Cars 1, there was the blimp and there was a plane. Jesus Christ, Mithi. You make this your whole personality. You don't even know the basic details. Can you believe this, everybody? Can you believe this?
I realized that like Ryder's like so
I'm the secret Cars enthusiast here.
I'm fucking crying.
So anyway, in short, Kenobi's. I keep calling it Kenobi because I hate the full name.
You should. You should just
Obi-Wan Kenobi is a stupid
Oh,
title. Kenobi is fine. It's got good moments. It's got some stupid stuff. NFT Darth Vader is dumb, and the way they handle Luke's arc in 4 is
yeah.
kind of just it feels lame.
And I
You
can't
know,
wait for season 2, which will be a Mexican standoff between Darth Vader, Obi-Wan, and
if this was a Western,
Darth
I would
Maul.
have liked it way more.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, a samurai Western movie with Obi-Wan and like a lightsaber only gets ignited once
Yeah.
would have been killer. I would have fucking lost it.
The teaser for season 2 to just have the Mandalorian show up and everyone just be fucking
Jesus
confused
Christ.
because it
What,
doesn't
it's like a
make any
6-year-old?
sense.
How old is he?
No, it's just him. He just shows up and they're like, "What the fuck?" And then nothing matters anymore. I would like that
Love
to
that.
happen. I would
Yeah,
like
that's a really good idea.
I would like them to make a Star Wars movie where it's just every single main character. It's like Anakin Skywalker, but then it's with like CGI Luke Skywalker, but then it's Obi-Wan, but then it's also a CGI Alec Guinness
So
Obi-Wan.
Rise of Skywalker.
Basically. And then also
Wait, I decided I'm gonna actually before we wrap up,
you know,
I'm gonna light myself like it's like I'm in Star Wars.
like you're Star Wars. I don't have. I'm gonna do this. This isn't the same thing.
This is what it was like to watch Obi-Wan Kenobi.
This is me with a white lightsaber.
Okay, that actually would look cool though. That's actually because
cool.
it's not overpowering.
Yeah.
For the record, overall, it was I enjoyed it. I had a good time with the show. The script, aside from pacing stuff and some weird stuff, the script was good. They introduced some interesting concepts with the Leia relationship and with Obi-Wan. The idea of trauma and that theme was interesting.
Yeah.
So bright. Holy shit.
That is
my god.
That's what he looks like.
It's
but
really
it's not
what
even
he looks
the whole
like.
face. It's just like this section of the face.
Yeah,
it's like super bright for some reason.
Yeah.
Go look at I guess yeah, there you go. That just looks like
god. Oh, that's painful. That's hot. That light's getting hot.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't burn yourself.
Hey, listen. It works for Anakin. I did okay, I actually liked the moment. Sorry, there are a lot of little things that I really liked. I really liked the thing of like you didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did.
That's a good moment. Yeah,
that's because also that leads into Obi-Wan's stupid mental gymnastics with talking to Luke. Of like from a certain point of view, he didn't kill your dad. From a certain point of view, he did kill Anakin.
Because that's what he was. I thought he was gonna have a very similar conversation with like Kid Leia. At some point,
Leia doesn't find out about jack shit until the end.
Yeah,
she doesn't find out that they're related. So she's related to anybody until the end of the series. Which has always been weird. It's so funny. And I honestly, fucking George didn't even know until they were filming that day. He was like, "Do we want to make Leia a love interest? Oh, we have another sister figure. We could just make Leia that sister. We can't."
Did they know during Empire?
Nope. And yeah, because they make out. What do you think?
Yeah, that's right. I forget that happened because I don't remember everything that happened in that movie.
They knew that he would have a sister, but it was supposed to be another character.
That would have felt weird. Maybe it is better that they went with Leia.
Yeah, even with incest stuff aside. A sentence I love saying.
You have to contextualize Empire with that. Empire is the one that everyone loves. It's also the one with the incest scene.
Never mind. I was gonna make a joke, and I realized maybe I shouldn't say that. So never mind. No comment.
This is the only time we're ever going to talk about Star Wars on this podcast, correct? Are we ever?
Probably. Yeah, that's not fair. That's
we've done this before. We just spent a lot of time talking about it because
when Ahsoka comes out, I'll talk about it because I do love Ahsoka. So
I'll try to watch more Clone Wars before that.
Morbius.
So more. Huh?
You said more. The second you got your cars fact wrong, I just like, all right, it's prime real estate. You just bully the shit out of you right now. But yeah, final thoughts on Obi-Wan?
Good enough show. Good enough being.
Yeah.
I said it was. What did I say? I said it was coherent with an asterisk. That's what I called this show.
Yeah.
It's coherent. It's good with an asterisk. That's what I call it.
That's valid.
You just gotta put it on and then sleep through the shit that's boring. Don't actually sleep through it unless you want to. Go ahead. Some of the fight scenes are cool. At the end, go watch The Boys.
Yeah, you could edit this down to something that's like 2.5 hours and get.
You could edit this down very easily. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to see that edit of just the core things.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah.
But you got to give me like a year before I watch that. I'd like to not think about this for a while.
Mithi hates the concept of watching movies.
Mithi's like,
no, I don't want to watch anything.
I will make movies and I won't watch the edit. I'll just be blind as I'm editing together the footage, and then I'll show it.
Edited by sound, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, movies suck. Go watch Cars 2.
Yeah, we all hate the medium of film except for Cars 2.
Yep.
Where we always get our facts right. The opening
scene in this fucking movie is sick. I'm gonna die on this hill. It's sick. He's like
anyway, everybody, thanks for joining us on Fanboy Talk.
I'm ashamed of myself.
You should be. I'm gonna be honest. Really I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. Yeah, you should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else we want to talk about really quick? We really just made this all about Kenobi,
we
and I think it's really funny.
I don't have to edit
Sorry,
anything
Obi-Wan
special.
Kenobi.
Thank you. Also, they should have used the score more. We didn't mention that.
Yeah, the score. I'm sorry, the score wasn't good. The score. I know John Williams did the theme. That wasn't great. That was just the Spider-Man PS4 theme. It was literally. It's literally the same melody.
I guess they were building up to have the Imperial March at the end, but it just didn't feel worth it.
Why do we need to build to that? We already did that in Revenge
He needs to earn the Imperial March. He gets the.
But we already did. He already earned it. He earned it at the end of 3.
He needs to earn it again. He needs to earn.
Like they love doing that. They love being like, here's a little taste of the thing.
Yeah.
No, I agree. The score was very lackluster, which is kind of disappointing.
Yeah, it was.
You good?
I am good. I was choking on my own.
Mithi dies at the end of this episode of the podcast.
I feel like you
kills over and dies, and I'm just doing the outro, and then I call 911.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah. All right. Do the outro for real this time because I interrupted you.
Yeah. Start talking about Cars 2, and I'll do it. No, but thanks everybody for joining us. Sorry it's been so long.
Britain. The end the movie in Britain.
You say that like it's a good thing. You're talking about that like that's a positive.
A bomb is about to blow up in Britain. That's the end of this movie, which is kind of insane. I'm taking off my headphones. I'm not gonna.
I don't even know if I can trust you though, because you get basic Cars facts. Oh, he's gone. Oh, he dipped. Oh, he's out of here. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the podcast. Sorry it's been such a long time. Mithi's working on the Young Justice video. He's also working on some other stuff. I have a video coming out soon. I got sponsor stuff to deal with that. It was supposed to come out Friday, and it's taking some time off. But thanks everybody for joining.
Vader has a Gatling gun.
All right. See you guys around.
Bye. See ya.